Pokemon fans, welcome to the Forge's Tuesday night Pokemon event. Players here tonight for championship points to hopefully take them to Worlds. I'm John Cleveland, joined by the 2023 Fort Wayne Regional Championship, just fresh back from Japan, competing at Worlds. Max Johnson, welcome. Thanks for joining me.
Thanks, John. Good to be here.
Tonight we're looking forward to seeing some of the best in the local area, the outstate Western Wisconsin, coming in to play some Pokemon. Hopefully getting some championship points that can earn them where you went, traveling all the way to Japan, wherever Worlds may be this year, trying to earn their way. It'll be tougher this year, but earn their way into some more championship points. Going into it tonight, we're in fresh Obsidian Flames. Everybody's looking towards Charizard. Other than Charizard, what are you looking to see tonight, Max?
Yeah, I want to see people using the Pidgeot EX and maybe some other decks. You know, that's a card with this pretty strong ability, and it's kind of cool to see what other, decks can make use of that ability.
Yeah, Pidgeot EX, sort of the get whatever you want from your deck card. A little bit tricky to set up. If you get item lockup, which is what I am personally hoping to see tonight, that can be tricky, but Charizard is seemingly the deck to beat. I'm sure we're going to see lots of Lost Box craziness going on tonight. A Lost Box with Charizard EX in it. We've got Sablezard making the rounds. Giratina.
Yeah, and I'd say a player to look out for today is Davin. He is been cleaning up the local scene with his Rapid Strike box.
Rapid Strike, cleaning up at North American International Championship, right?
That's correct.
Yeah, that was kind of out of left field. Everyone's expecting it. I'm hoping that he meets a Noivern player. Personally, as a Noivern fan, that is a fun matchup for them. But it will be interesting to see the matchups tonight. Hopefully we'll get some interesting things going on. It'd be great to get a Charizard mirror match, would be my favorite. Looking forward to seeing what comes in tonight. Anything you want to add before we dive into the matches?
Yeah, no, just excited to see what our players here have cooked up and excited to get into the games.
Cool. Looking forward to talking about it.
All right.
We'll be Welcome back, Pokemon fans, for the inaugural match at the tournament tonight. We have Wyatt versus Peyton. Looking at their deck list, it looks like this is an identical mirror match. We've got Lost Box running a Drapion on the right and a Lost Box running a Drapion on the left.
Yeah, 60 card mirror. So in these kinds of situations, especially with a deck like Lost Box, you can definitely outskill your opponent. There's a lot of opportunity for counterplay and just outplaying your opponent. So
Are they running the same sleeves too?
it looks like they are also running the exact same sleeve. So this is an even more of a mirror match.
All right, an opening hand is going to be critical here to see. We got one mulligan, it looks like.
Yeah, and so an interesting thing, and basically every deck wants to go first. However, in the Lost Box mirror match, going second is sometimes the better play, because if you can get your 4 cards in the Lost Zone, and you can get you get a cram spin off to take the first prize of the game, that can be a huge advantage in this mirror match.
Yeah, taking an early prize. Speaking of prizes, Peyton has prize 2 of his home phase. That's going to be a little, and a less vacuum. It's going to be a little bit challenging to get that engine rolling, getting those cards in the Lost Zone. Oop, got a little peek at the Sableye falling down over there. Wyatt reshuffling for his first mulligan, I think, so far.
Yeah, and Peyton opening the Battle VIP pass, which you cannot hope for a better card to have in your opening hand.
I think he's going to go looking for some Comphase and realize he only has 2, though. So, be interesting decision making going on there.
Yes, this deck also does play a heavy ball, so still will have at least 1 extra out to a Comfy if one gets knocked out early.
All right, Wyatt here getting set up. Hopefully he gets his basic. Got his 7 cards down. Let's see what he's got.
He is opening the Comfy.
Okay. All right. Did we see who's going first? It was Peyton going first.
Oh, and he gets another Battle VIP off the mulligan. This is about the dream start for Lost Box, that's for sure.
We're going to see, one open space, waiting for that Sableye. Maybe get 7 to 10.
Yeah, something that
on this turn.
Something that can be pretty important is not bench locking yourself,
Yes.
and allowing the opponent to just spread damage with Sableye and take, 4 to 6 prizes in one turn.
So, Max, you have the experience of playing Lost Box with Goodra. You're very familiar with sequencing all these cards. When you see 2 Battle VIP passes in hand like Peyton has right now, what are you looking to set up right now?
Yeah, so you definitely want to get, if I didn't see what his starter was, but if his starter wasn't a Comfy, right away you get 2 Comfies down for sure, no question.
All right.
You are also definitely looking for that Radiant Greninja to draw more cards. In the mirror, you probably would also like to set up your Manaphy.
Okay.
So those would be my 4 choices off of the Battle VIP.
We're not going to need a lot of heavy damage, it looks like. Dragonite is prized over on Wyatt's side there. Nothing too crazy. Is that a Sableye we can't see off screen? No, that is not.
It is a Comfy, it looks like.
Alright, Comfy and a Cramorant. Maybe a little bit slower, but he does play a couple... 2 heavy balls? 1 heavy ball.
1 heavy
go
ball,
back
yep.
and get something.
Yeah, and, Dragonite, not a super great attacker in this matchup as it puts, a lot of damage on your bench. Makes it easy for Sableye to clean up for a couple prizes. So, I don't think that's not a huge deal, but however, Wyatt did prize the Cramorant. So if he is going second, that is very unfortunate for sure, because he only plays the 1 copy, so he would have to find the heavy ball.
Alright. Does he have a Colress's Experiment in hand? Oh, we're still getting set up over here, actually. Is that 2 or 3 mulligans?
I think it was 2.
Got 1 down.
He has another Comfy in hand, so pretty good start from there. Has the Pokestop in hand, so has a couple extra chances to find that Battle VIP on his first turn if he is unable to with his flower selectings. Also has the Colress's Experiment in hand.
He is ready to start cooking as well. Peyton looking to fire off those Battle VIP passes, about as good as it gets for a start. You can see his hands shaking a little bit. He's so excited to use them. Alright, we're waiting for the signal that they can begin here. You can hear in the background, we've got about 60 players tonight, I think. A little bit less, a little bit more. Full night here at the Forge, early in the 2024 season. You are also pursuing championship points to find your way back to Worlds. You headed to Pittsburgh this weekend?
I will be heading to Pittsburgh this weekend for
You
sure.
wanna give us any hints about what you'll be playing?
Yeah, no, I'll be playing Lost Zone Giratina, which I expect to be not a unpopular deck, that's for sure. It looks like we have a slight issue on the floor, so we're just going to be a few more minutes till we get this game started. And yeah, so Lost Zone Giratina, I think it's a good deck right now. Has access to Path to the Peak, has access to Star Requiem, and also, just has a lot of different answers for different decks. I think, Path is just such a strong card right now that, like, just on its own, it can sometimes just beat a lot of decks if you just Path them turn one and then they draw.
Path of the Peak, you can't get that Charizard out, and if they do get that Charizard out, I'm assuming you already have 10 in the Lost Zone, and it's Star Requiem time.
It is Star Requiem time, yeah. Charizard definitely doesn't want to see Lost Zone Giratina. It has a couple difficult matchups in, like, Rapid Strike Box can be a tough one for sure.
All right.
Turbo Lost Box has a favored matchup into Giratina too. But overall, I think the Giratina's matchup spread is pretty favorable, and so that's the deck that I decided to lock in.
All right, you heard it here first. Max will be playing Giratina at Pittsburgh. I wish everyone best of luck playing against him. We get another regional in the bag. And does a regional earn you an immediate invite to Worlds again?
This year, yes, they have changed the rules, so now it does give points. So even if you win, you can still earn points for chasing. That round one bye at Worlds this year.
Yeah.
But yes, now this year, first place at a regional gives you the immediate invite, which is very nice.
But they've gotten rid of the immediate day 2 invite. You just get a round 1 bye. So you sort of skip a little bit instead of skipping an entire day this year.
Correct, yeah. Right. I think, good changes for the game for sure. All right, and it looks like we'll be getting started pretty shortly here.
Time starts with the fist bump. Should get that going, and then we will be firing off the first game here. Peyton versus Wyatt on the mirror match.
Yeah, both these players have been playing Lost Box for a long time. Peyton played Kyogre Lost Box to Milwaukee last year.
The suspense is already building with
All
that.
right. Oh, and so Peyton, while he does have the Dream Start of Battle VIPs, he has the worst start in starting the Drapion.
What is the retreat cost on Drapion? Is it 2?
It's 2, yeah.
All right. He's got a switch card in hand, hopefully.
Yeah, just unfortunate to have that liability on the board in this matchup. It's something that Wyatt could look to take out with Raikou at some point in this game.
All right. Hopefully Wyatt can get those 7 in the Lost Zone to get that Mirage Gate fired up to get that Raikou going. Both these guys are going to have full benches, so that Raikou should be doing that full 220 damage.
Yeah. Also, with Peyton going first, if Wyatt is able to find that Cramorant, getting the heavy ball out of his deck this turn, getting that 110 on the Drapion is pretty nice.
Colress in hand, too.
Colress in hand
He is
as
ready
well.
to go for 7 on his first turn. Hopefully he can. He's got 2 Comphase and a Colress, so that's already a guaranteed 4.
Yep, a couple energies in hand, so we'll be able to draw a few more off of the Radiant Greninja.
Nice thing about Peyton and Wyatt, experienced Lost Box players, they move quickly. Some pretty cards, too. Rare Nest Ball and a rare Colress over there in Peyton's hand, ready for his next turn. Neither of these players really playing any hand disruption, so once you see them holding, it's probably going to be what they're using on the next turn. Going into the first flower selecting. Not a hard choice.
Yeah, I think just thinking about, the Pal Pad can come in pretty handy later in this game in the mirror. If you're able to, get another boss back, another Clara back, it can make chaining Sableye a lot easier.
So you're looking to get a Clara out of your discard, put another Sableye on the bench, get 1 energy there, and then start doing that spread damage again, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
As someone who plays a lot of Lost Box and has never played a Lost Box, Sableye is my least favorite card.
I think a lot of people would share that opinion.
You love it or you hate it.
It is, quite the powerful card. Gatekeeps a lot of other decks that could maybe be a thing if that card did not exist. And also, the Roxanne also is maybe another reason why Peyton decided to keep that Pal Pad. Roxanne is such a strong card in the mirror match.
And Roxanne, you do need to have 3 prize cards.
3 prize cards.
So
Your opponent
barrier
needs to have
there,
taken 3 prize cards. But yes, it's a great way if if this Drapion allows Wyatt to get a little bit ahead in this prize race. The Roxanne is definitely one way to get back into it. However, will be one of the last prize cards that Peyton will take.
Most likely, unless he goes out of normal order. It looks like we've already got 3 in the Lost Zone for Wyatt. Is that correct? Down here?
That is correct, and his
Ryan is
Drapion
fast.
has made it straight to the Lost Zone, so...
The moment he saw Mew was not sitting across from him. Although I get a feeling that Wyatt knew what Peyton was playing. There are 2 local players, both very skilled, obviously very fast. Go get some more cards. Another Colress.
I think... Yeah, that was... Yeah, I think that was pretty good draw. Like, nice to have the Colress sitting in hand for next turn.
Wow. Alright, bringing up another Comfey. Go look at another 2 cards and put some more ammo in the Lost Zone.
Oh,
Is that
another Colress.
Wow. Now this is... 2 battle VIP passes is good, but...
Yeah, 2 ropes off the Pokestop. Everything seems to be going pretty well for Wyatt this turn. However, it does not look like he was able to find the heavy ball.
So that cram sitting in his prize cards right now is giving him a bit of a headache. Let's see what he's going to do here. Does he have any reasonable way he could attack right now, which is 4 in the Lost Zone?
Unfortunately, it would only be that Cramorant, so if he has no other cards in his hand to see any more cards, which it looks like he doesn't, then it looks like it will probably just be a pass back over to Peyton.
Is that Peyton sitting with only 1 in the Lost Zone right now?
Yeah, he didn't have a super great start with that Drapion, unfortunately.
Got the Manaphy down, just in case the Radiant Greninja comes up to protect his bench.
And it looks like it will be a pass back over to Peyton. Has a Colress in hand, has a Water Energy in hand, Forest Seal Stone in hand.
The
So
Drapion is actually doing something?
doing
Place to put
something.
it?
Yeah, it's good. Good at least for that. Gonna Pokestop. And, ooh, kind of a tougher Pokestop.
Probably glad he kept that Pal Pad to get that Claw back.
Yeah, I still probably happy he didn't hit any supporters. Hitting the energies in Pokemon, those are all recoverable. He plays 3 rods, so while it's not ideal, didn't help him, didn't hurt him super much either.
Alright, let's see what he's going to do. Choose from those 5 cards. 2 of them going into the Lost Zone. Adding to the ammo he needs to fire off Mirage Gate. Probably going to drop the Dragonite, or he's going to keep it?
I would say he probably would get rid of the Dragonite in this matchup. It's not super necessary. I think you'd rather attack with other cards.
Dragonite requiring 2 Water Energy and 1 Lightning Energy.
Yeah, so if you're getting the Dragonite, it makes sense to get rid of the Lightning. If you want to attack with Raikou, you still have the other Lightning left in the deck.
So Max, we got 2 players that have not attacked yet, both of them getting set up as fast as they can. We're not seeing a cram on Peyton's bench yet either. What is Peyton looking for right now?
Yeah, I think he's kind of in a tricky spot here because if he wants to attack with the Cram this turn, he would be bench locking himself out of the Sableye, and then Wyatt would just be able to, spread damage. So I think that it is possible that, ideally Peyton gets to 7 this turn and attacks with the Greninja. That would be his best turn for sure. It's definitely certainly possible. Both players are playing 3 Lost Vacuums, so certainly would be able to get there if he hits the right cards.
Peyton just got the Mirage Gate. If he can get to that 7, we can power up that Radiant Greninja. Currently at 4 in the Lost Zone.
And, has access to the Seal Stone still, has access to 2 Lost Vacuums in hand, so
Okay.
I think he should certainly be able to get to 7 on this turn. I think, and he has the Water Energy in hand.
Is there a Chorus? He already used one this turn?
Yeah, already used the Colress this turn. He should be able to.
Thinking about it. Nope. Changed his mind. And you're watching 2 players that really know what they're doing that play against each other, quite often using these exact cards. So when they drew each other, I'm assuming that they knew what was going to happen here. Going into the Comfey, seeing 2 cards. Get rid of a Nest Ball, going to 5 in the Lost Zone.
Yep, gonna get rid of that Nest Ball. Tough to get rid of another Psychic Energy when he's already used 1.
He runs 3 Psychic Energy, so that's going to limit him to 2 Sableye uses. Still enough to do some damage.
Yeah, and has access to Rod, has access to Clara, so we'll be able to get any energies back if necessary.
Are we going to see it pass, or are we going to try to get that 7 in there?
Yeah, I guess he was missing a switching card in his hand and decided not to Seal Stone for it. It seemed like getting the Radiant Greninja attack off would have.
Oh, there it is. He's going in looking for something.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, makes a lot of sense. I was gonna say, getting the Radiant Greninja attack off this turn on those 2 Comfies would be pretty devastating for Wyatt. That's he has access to 1 more in the deck, but did prize the 4th one.
Radiant Greninja doing 90 damage to 2 of your opponent's Pokemon, which would take out the entire Lost Draw engine that Wyatt is currently relying upon.
Yeah, still has Colress's in hand, so we'll still have ways to see more cards in his deck, get more cards in the Lost Zone, but having all your Comfies wiped off the board is pretty tough. So we have to see the Lost Vacuum coming down. Yeah, not a ton of great cards to get rid of.
Yep.
But yeah, the Vacuum makes a lot of sense.
And
onto the Pal Pad.
We are at 7. Mirage Gate is now active for Peyton. This could be not good for those Comfeys over on Wyatt's side of the board.
Yeah, gonna use the Escape Rope. Doesn't matter too much what. Yeah, just gonna send him.
The energy's back.
Greninja.
Using the Super Rod to put that energy back in the deck. I have a feeling he's going to go just grab that energy real quick with 2 Mirage Gates.
Yeah, we're going to see
Mirage Gate number 1. Mirage
3
Gate number
energy
2.
down to the Greninja, 1 more coming down to the Greninja, and likely either 1 onto the Sableye or 1 onto a Comfey for a pivot.
I think that Sableye is about to get loaded up. Oh, I was wrong.
Electing just to put 1. He might have been out of energy in the deck. I think he had a couple Psychics in hand.
Is he attached from hand yet?
He did. He attached from hand to retreat the Comfey.
Yes. Max showing his experience playing Lost Box, having paid attention to all this.
All right, and yeah, so we'll have to see how Wyatt responds here. This is definitely Peyton's most powerful attack in this situation.
Drawing the Clara. He's got the Sableye on his bench. Radiant Greninja, discarding an energy.
2 Battle VIP passes
clogging that
off
hand
of
up.
that. That's tough draw for sure. Gonna play the Colress. See if you can get into anything here. Another Battle VIP pass.
VIP pass. Ugh.
Has a Nest Ball in hand though, so will be able to get into another Comfey at least.
You got the Heavy Ball in hand too. You can go grab that Cramorant.
Could grab the Cramorant here. Unfortunately, it's just a little tough because if he just attacks with the Cramorant this turn, he hitting 110 into the Radiant Greninja doesn't do a ton. He could pair it with an Escape Rope, and that maybe would be a little better. I think if Wyatt's able to, he's at 6 cards in the Lost Zone right now, and if he's able to get 10 in Sableye this turn, that would be for sure ideal.
He's Sableyeing. I'm assuming he's going to try to take 2 prize cards and just get something going in his hand, taking up the 2 Comfeys.
Yeah, well, he would be able to take out 1 Comfey, but would only be able to put 5 more damage counters after that. But seems like that would be good. Probably, has to get the Manaphy down this turn because it would certainly be possible for Peyton to Moonlight Shuriken him again here.
Every single time I've played Wyatt, he has kicked my butt. And it's always when he seems like he's down, he manages to pull it out, switch something around, and then all of a sudden he's collected all of his prize cards. He really knows what he's doing. You tell by putting those cards in the Lost Zone. Now Mirage Gate is active for Wyatt. Let's go see what he's going shopping for with that Nest Ball. Is that what he just used?
So he just Pokestop, hit Seal Stone and Psychic, but had the other Seal Stone in hand, I believe, in case he's able to get into a V here. His hand doesn't look like it's doing him too many favors.
Get some energy back in the deck. Get that Comfey back in the deck as well. Right now when you're Wyatt, are you just trying to see more cards? Just try to get more in the Lost Zone so you have more options?
Yeah, certainly. You're down quite a lot in this matchup so far. I think ideally you just get as set up as you can and hope that, you're able to maybe try to get a Roxanne play off this game. It looks like, I think he did hit the Roxanne off of that last Flower Select.
Very nice. On the opposite side of Wyatt, that Sableye sitting over there ominously. the card I despise the most playing Lost Box. It's most powerful options. You can spread, you can take out Pokemon, and kind of do whatever you like.
Yeah, and looks like Wyatt just loading up the Radiant Greninja, and it won't get too much value off of this Moonlight Shuriken here.
He's just going to turn the favor, it looks like.
Well, unfortunately for Wyatt, Peyton
the
does
Manaphy
have
is
the
down.
Manaphy down. And so, with the Radiant Greninja being in the active spot, he won't even be taking a knockout with this Moonlight Shuriken. And so I think if I'm Peyton, I'm pretty happy with Wyatt's turn there.
Got 2 Psychic Energy in hand if you can find his way to 10 in the Lost Zone, which shouldn't be a challenge. Got a Lost Vacuum to give him a couple free ones as well.
Yeah, I think this should be pretty free for Peyton to get to that 10 in the Lost Zone. Has a Heavy Ball. Will be able to grab that last Comfy out of the prizes.
Alrighty, switching it out.
And also, shuffles those prizes around, possibly could be putting that Roxanne at the bottom of his prizes. Not that it should matter too much, as he's quite ahead in this matchup so far.
Traditionally, players do grab bottom to top. You never know when you're going to get someone that grabs from the top. But if you were to grab that Roxanne and the prize cards are not favoring Wyatt, it could be even worse. Wyatt's hand a little bit clogged up with the Battle VIP passes, just taking up space at this point. Does Wyatt have any real good way to get rid of them?
Honestly, no. Doesn't. Some Lost Box players were electing to play an Ultra Ball. These lists are pretty standard, not playing that Ultra Ball. So really, the only way to get rid of them would be hitting them off of Flower Selectings and Culverses and just Lost Zoning them.
So those Battle VIP passes might be permanently in Wyatt's hand for the rest of the game. Unless he were to get Roxanne a little bit. Let's see what Peyton's working on here. Put him at 9 in the Lost Zone.
Yeah, and looks like he's just going to Lost on 2 Pokestops. Makes sense, as both players, that's the only stadium they play.
Is he at 9 or 10 right now, Max?
It looks like he's at 9.
I was gonna say, if we see the Sableye come out, we know where he is, but...
Yeah, see if there's... He still has one more Comfy he's able to use. But maybe, yeah, still has a couple Switch cards in hand. Rope coming down now to get into that last Comfy, it looks like.
Let's point out Peyton's deck looking pretty thin.
He's probably going to use the Vacuum to hit that Pokestop and make it even harder for Wyatt to have any sort of response.
So Wyatt hopefully was going to use that Pokestop to go grab some switches or Mirage Gates or just something to help him, but now that has been relegated to the Lost Zone. Sableye has been fully engaged with 10 and now in the Lost Zone for Peyton. It is not looking good for Wyatt.
The only upside, I guess, is that the Pokestop that was in play was Wyatt's, so at least putting him to 8 cards in the Lost Zone now, so will hit 10 off of a Colress here, which looks like he'll be playing this turn.
There we go. I don't know if that Raiku's going to help him at all. Mirage Gate might be a little bit useful to get some energy on it.
Yeah, and at this point, yeah, Manaphy not super useful. Sableye will be able to take a ton of prizes. Peyton is down a lot of gates, had to double gate for that Moonlight Shuriken attack earlier and Lost Zoned a gate early on, I believe. Or no, it looks like he still should have 2 gates left. So, yeah, it's looking at Wyatt's perspective of this game, it seems pretty tough to come back from this. Peyton's got his full board set up. Wyatt hasn't taken a prize yet. It looks like he's going to go for a Sableye play here, which makes a lot of sense. Knock out his Sableye, and maybe he can hope that Peyton prized the other Sableye and that, maybe can't recycle that one and get it back in time. But
Playing that Mirage Gate is going to bring that Radiant Greninja within 1 energy of being online. The Sableye now powered up on the bench as well. Both these players very skilled with these decks. This is their full-time deck that they play. It's always fun to watch guys that really know what they're doing power through this.
Yeah, definitely.
And figure the math out too. The Sableye is the math Pokemon.
That's for sure. And so we'll see the Lost Mine coming out, knocking out the Sableye. Makes a lot of sense. He has 4 more damage counters to make the math line up perfectly to also knock out the Greninja. So,
and it does not look like Peyton has a good answer for that as well. Taking out his 2 attackers. Drapion, a possibility, but you're going to use a lot of Mirage Gates to get that powered up.
Yeah, looks like he has the Cramorant in hand, so if he's unable to get, and yeah, just has Clar in hand, that is the perfect card for this situation. If you didn't have the Clar in hand, had the Cramorant, would have been able to take a return KO.
A little bit more concerned,
necessary,
but now with Cram and Sableye on the bench and Psychic Energy.
Yeah. Looking pretty good for Peyton here. Should be able to just take a knockout this turn, no problem.
For those who aren't entirely sure how Sableye works, Sableye's attack is placing damage counters. It is an effect, so it bypasses Manaphy. That's why we saw Wyatt earlier just ditching the Manaphy once he knew that Sableye was online. Manaphy does not prevent Sableye's damage. That's why Sableye is such a powerful card, because it bypasses a lot of things you use to prevent bench damage, bench sniping. Sableye just going around all that.
Yeah, and and being able to place the damage counters however you want is just such a powerful, portion of that attack.
That's why we don't like Sableye. All right.
Yeah.
Peyton is cooking right now. Deck's looking a little thin. I don't think it's going to matter, though. Probably not going to keep.
Yeah, not really going to need the Raikou at this point. Should safely be able to. Oh, decide to keep the Raikou, though. So maybe just trying to make sure that he's able to respond on Wyatt's Raikou if that's what he chooses to attack with next turn.
It's actually a good point. Peyton does still have to take 3 prizes in order to win this game. It is not over yet. It's just looking, the bench is a little bit thin over there for Wyatt. Doesn't have a whole lot of attack options right now. But Wyatt is always surprising with how good he is at this. I'm interested to see what he does.
So he'll take the return KO on the Sableye, put the remaining 4 damage counters on the Raikou.
Raikou is at 180 health right now?
180. Well, it's 160.
160.
So we'll be able to, if Wyatt takes a KO on the Sableye this turn, Peyton should be able to get back into another Sableye, I think. Recycled the last one with a rod at the end of his turn before he attacked.
Does he have a good... his deck's thin enough. He probably has a way to flower selecting his into whatever he needs in his deck, I'm assuming.
Yeah, and has a few energies in hand. So we'll be able to concealed cards as well.
Switch card as well.
Switch card as well.
He's probably going to be looking at another 6 cards at least.
So I think now that Peyton is down to 2 prizes, if Wyatt's at all able to Roxanne him, that would be the way that Wyatt is able to come back into this game.
He's got a big hand. You can put that back in his deck and give him 2 cards that could stop him in his tracks. Normally, Lost Box fearing the Iono, but this game fearing the Roxanne.
Hits the heavy ball. Has access to Sableye, Comfey or Dragonite. Opts to take the Comfey. Makes sense.
Max, you think he's just grabbing that Comfey just to see more cards, to get more options?
Yeah, I think his only way to come back in this game is if he's able to Roxanne. And so if he's able to see... He looks like he has a couple switch cards in hand, so should be able to get into a few more Comfeys, using the switch card to take some damage off the board of that Raikou, which
Might fix that Sableye math.
certainly helps.
Opted to not take the switch card again. I think he got something he liked. Got the Mirage Gate to power stuff up if he needs to. Is that a Chorus in his hand?
Yeah, I think he has a Chorus in hand, but probably would rather not play it.
Holding it to see if he sees that Roxanne?
Yeah, for sure. And, has option. He doesn't want to bench another Comfey if he doesn't have to. Oh, gonna Pokestop. Oh, no, it was
there
the
goes
next
the Roxanne.
card. Oh, no.
We have a Pal Pad in hand? We
do have a Pal Pad in
There we
hand.
go. All right, come on, Wyatt. You can find this.
Yeah, and I think, should probably just put the one Roxanne, nothing else left in the deck, because you just really need to hit it here.
Increase those odds of
Increase
finding
those
that card.
odds.
Peyton probably saw that go out of the deck and was relieved.
Only
And
to
then
see it go
cycle
right
back in
back
the
in.
deck. 4 cards left in deck. 5 cards left in Wyatt's deck.
Yeah, so pretty good chance that he sees it here.
Also getting loaded up. We're no longer counting because beyond 10 it doesn't matter. Does he get it? Come on, let's see.
Does
if we
have
can find it.
concealed cards, I think. Has he used concealed cards yet? He has not, so he will hit the Roxanne.
So Wyatt is getting down to 1 to 2 cards in his deck, super rotting some stuff back, so he has some more options to not deck himself out.
Yeah, and we'll be playing the Roxanne too, so he'll shuffle. I think he has a pretty big hand at this point.
Is that? Oh, it's his lot. I was going to say, does he have a 20 card hand? That is his discard pile. Finally getting rid of the Battle VIP passes.
Got rid of the Battle VIP pass with a vacuum. Yes, I guess that is one other way to get rid of them.
Interested to see how this goes.
Yeah, and so gonna Mirage Gate makes sense. Set up a pivot, set up a Sableye.
Gonna retreat into the Sableye.
And I guess how many cards does he have in his hand? Because he is pretty close to decking out, actually.
Maybe like 5 or 6.
Oh, he decked himself out with Roxanne. Yeah, unfortunate.
Oh, why?
Yeah, really unlucky that he hit that Roxanne off the Pokestop. If he had just flower selecting with that other Comfy.
If he didn't have to pal pet into it, would he have had 1 card left to make a play?
Yeah, I think he would have had enough. Yeah.
Still though, an impressive game from Wyatt. Down a little bit, fighting his way back. Peyton and the mirror match getting out a little bit ahead thanks to those 2 Battle VIP passes. Max, it's a delight talking to you about this. You really know what you're doing, teaching me a social player about this. It's awesome to watch these guys play.
Yeah, ton of fun to watch such a matchup of pretty skilled players, people who have been playing these deck lists for a long time. Wyatt was really close to showing how you can come back in the Lost Zone Mirror for sure. That Roxanne's such a powerful card, but yeah, gotta watch out for how many cards are left in deck.
Yeah. We got a water ball on the table. Perfect. Looking forward to seeing round 2. Whoever's up next, trying to find some interesting matchups for the Pokemon fans watching us live here at the Forge for this tournament tonight.
Yeah, and we'll be back with you shortly with our winners interview. Welcome back to the Forge League Challenge. I'm here with Peyton, our winner from round 1. Peyton, congrats on the win. You played the Lost Box Mirror.
Yes.
Very skillful mirror, for sure.
Yeah.
And you're playing against Wyatt, who has been on Lost Box a long time. You yourself have been a long time Lost Box player.
Yep.
What do you like about the Lost Box deck?
Lost Box deck has a lot of variability. You can you have a lot of different attackers with a lot of different uses for their weaknesses, and you kind of you can put in different things and make it different. But me and him, actually, funny enough, we're playing the exact 60.
We did notice that.
Yeah, we were playing the exact same 60, which was kind of funny. But yeah, in the mirror it's weird, but in other matchups it can feel really good. You can set up a lot of damage. You prepare for your future turns. You have a lot of ways to go around it, and even if you get Iono'd, you can have a lot of chances to get back into the game, or get Roxanne in the mirror. You have a lot of chances to get back into the game with Colress's, and that Pal Pad really helps get more Colress's in the decks to make more chances to get more cards. So there's never really a time where Lost Box is out of it. Lost Box can always make it back, you know, so that's a big reason why I like it so much.
Yeah, for sure. Is there anything specifically, like, did you say you knew you guys were playing the same 60? Did you know going into that game you were playing the same 60?
I had a kind of an idea, but then when we were waiting, we kind of talked about it, and we kind of just called out the same cards that maybe get teched in more often than not, and we were like, yep, we're playing the same 60. But I knew he was going to be playing Lost Box, so, and I'm guessing, I was guessing it was going to be Turbo because he doesn't play Tina or anything like that. The only difference would have maybe he plays the Galarian Moltres sometimes, but he wasn't playing that today. He was playing the Drapion like me.
Sure,
But
yeah. So knowing your opponent's exact 60, did that make you play any differently? Was there any other things that you thought about how to do?
There was definitely a time where I wanted to play around the Roxanne, but it was at a point of where it was between just taking the one Comfey knockout so he doesn't have another way to draw cards and just kind of playing into the Roxanne, or putting damage everywhere and giving him a chance to come back in that sense. So it was a little weird. Knowing the Roxanne is there and trying to play around that really changes up your element of your game, because going down to 2 feels really bad, and then seeing new 6 feels really good for them, you know? So not letting that happen is a big thing, and knowing mine was prized changes that a lot too, because him having that chance to do that and I don't have the chance to do that back to him feels bad. But it definitely made me play a little differently, and also seeing him not hit that battle pass, getting that Greninja turn 2 felt amazing. You know, killing down his only way to search for the game for the most part other than Greninja. But getting those 2 Comfeys, getting the 2 prize cards, always feels great. The only worry is him going second, is him getting the Cram hit. But he didn't get there.
Yeah, well, you played really well. Congrats on the win, and
Appreciate
we'll
it.
hope to see you get a few more wins tonight.
Oh shit, thank you, man.
Welcome back, Pokemon fans. We had a question from the stream. Can players take cards vertically like that, or do they take from top to bottom? Max, you actually chimed in with some experience at your regional. Take it away.
Yeah, so while there's no official rule about what order you have to take your prize cards in, sometimes when you're on, like if you're on stream and you have the noise canceling headphones on, when you're laying your prizes out, it's possible like that if the crowd reacts loud enough that like you might know, like you might be able to hear it through the headphones and know like, oh shoot, I prize something, it might be at the top of my prizes. And so it's kind of like an etiquette thing to take your prizes from bottom to top. Just, so it's clear that there's no funny business going on there.
Right. So that the way that they are distributed is the way that you will be taking them in.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, good question for sure.
Playing on stream now, we have one very interesting deck, personal favorite of mine. Paul is playing colorless Lugia. Davin is playing Inteleon Rapid Strike, deck that you also enjoy, Max. This is going to be an interesting matchup.
Yeah, Davin has actually been tearing up our local scene with the Rapid Box. He has been cleaning up local events, just winning challenges, winning league nights. Recently won a cup. He's really taken off with this deck. So I would he's a very, very good Rapid Box player. However,
he was the one that you said we should be paying attention to.
Player to watch for sure. This matchup is definitely an unfavored matchup for him though. So it'll be interesting to see how he's able to respond. Lugia, single strike Lugia for sure, but also colorless Lugia is a pretty tough matchup for Rapid Box.
We are not going to see any Path to the Peaks disabling that Lugia, grabbing those Archeopsis out of the discard pile. And Paul does seem like he's got a good start here. He's got that first Lugia on the bench. It is absolutely critical for a Lugia player to have turn 2, putting those Archeopsis on the bench. Turn 1, he finds that Lugia, gets it benched. He's got one of his main attackers, Snorlax, in the active right now. We'll see if we can get the Inteleon all powered up.
Yeah, Paul actually unable to Squawkabilly. It was in the prizes.
Ooh, that's tough. Squawkabilly useful for blowing up your hand early to try to get that early Lugia out.
Yeah, however, he did have the Radiant Charizard in his hand, so if he had access to the Squawkabilly, it would have been interesting to see if he had decided to go for that Squawk or not.
That Radiant Charizard, Paul is playing 1 Luminous Energy. Useful for the end of the game if you just need that 250 damage going up against whatever else is over there. That Luminous Energy and that Charizard are there for that reason and that reason alone. Interesting to see how Davin is sequencing this over here, going with an Irida. Gonna go find a tool.
Seal Stone for it.
Battle VIP Pass, theme of the night.
Yeah, so super important to get your bench set up. Looks like he is going to grab the Octillery and a Battle VIP Pass. Yeah, the Octillery, very important in this deck. Maybe like the card that makes this deck work, possibly.
And that is your draw engine, right? Your single strike, or those are rapid strike cards.
Yeah, it's super strong, in this meta, which is very path heavy. Like right now, there's a lot of decks playing path. Rapid Box isn't too bothered by Path to the Peak, as it's able to just rapid strike search for the stadium like every turn it needs to.
Those stadiums in play not going to be benefiting the Lugia player, but the Lugia player being kind of relieved that there's going to be no Path to the Peak coming down here. Correct me if I'm mistaken. Medicham?
Yeah.
Yoga Loop?
Yeah, the Yoga Loop. That's the
terrifying.
Very terrifying for especially decks that play little Comfies and Charmanders. But Lugia doesn't really play any little Pokemon. It'll play a Pumpkaboo, but as there's no path in this matchup, like you mentioned, we won't be seeing that card come down anytime soon.
Just a point of clarification, we're not saying that's on the bench right now, but I think we might be seeing a Yoga Loop attempt, because it's always fun to take 2 turns in a row.
Yeah, yes. And, there's definitely even without little Pokemon in play, there's many ways to set it up with spreading damage and using Urshifu VMAX's Gmax Rapid Flow, using the Alakazam to move some damage counters around. Davin, definitely an expert at setting up the damage in a way that will allow him to Yoga Loop and take even more prizes for sure.
Double Gunner as well.
Yeah, the Double Gunner, very, very powerful ability for sure. And I think something different that we noticed from Davin's list from the typical Rapid Box is that he plays a 7th Water Energy, which I think most lists were running 6. So Davin really valuing the extra energy, the extra out to hitting his cards that he needs to get the Double Gunners activated.
Got the Drapion in hand. I don't think he'll be needing that. See what he's going to be searching for. Rapid Strike cards. Getting the Inteleon VMAX, it looks like.
Yeah, and Paul's turn, not super strong. He just got another Lugia down, and that was kind of it.
Interested to see if you can get those 2 Archeopses in the discard. Find that Lugia V-Star, and then that Lugia deck is that terrifying monster that it is once it gets set up. My personal favorite special energy distribution system. But against Inteleon, it's going to be tough with where he is right now. Especially if he gets those Archeopses set up on the bench. Only 150 hit points. They are kind of soft targets. Might be a good with some move and damage counters around for a Yoga Loop setup there.
Yeah. It's something that Rapid Box can do against this is if you get a G-Max Rapid Flow off on the 2 Archeops, you can definitely finish them off with some double gunners, some Yoga Loops, and some Alakazams.
Melanie giving him 3 more cards and attaching from the discard pile. A lot of energy going out.
Yeah, he's got 2 Inteleon VMAXs set up. He's got his Urshifu V has the 3 energy on it. Just needs to find the VMAX to get a potential rapid flow off. But looks like he might just be attacking with the Urshifu V, which makes a lot of sense.
Tower of Waters reduces the retreat costs that Inteleon to nothing, I believe.
Yeah, all Rapid Strike Pokemon have free retreat, so very strong stadium for sure, and it's super important for being able to loop your attackers and get your, get into your Medicham, get back into your Urshifu, get into your Inteleon VMAX. It's hard to boss stick anything in this deck because they're just able to retreat so easily.
Unfortunately, Paul just like it was attach, read the wind, discarded an Archeops, and is going to go back across the board to Davin.
Yeah, that's a pretty unfortunate turn for sure. And we see that these double gunners are starting to come out here.
If you don't get that turn 2 Lugia V-Star, it gets tougher and tougher to catch back up. I was really rooting for this Colorless Lugia. An interesting choice tonight. It just destroys single prizers because it's just usually giving up its own single prizers, and then it has the Weird Deer closer and the Radiant Charizard closer as well, but not quite set up yet on Paul's side.
Yeah, and Paul probably not too sad to see this Iono.
I was about to say, he's probably pretty stoked to put those cards at the bottom. Maybe you can draw into an Archeops Ultra Ball and a Lugia V-Star would be convenient.
Let's see. It looks like
Water, Iono. Got another Inteleon VMAX over there in David's hand.
Yeah, Paul did draw into at least 1 Ultra Ball, so that's good to see. I think he actually has 2 Ultra Balls in hand, so should be able to get his Archeops and V-Star set up next turn. But the question is it going to be too late to come back from Davin's early setup and damage?
The VMAXs are going down. They are all powered up. They are big. They are bulky. It's going to be tough for a colorless Lugia to really hit those highs, those high damage output that it needs, unless he puts his Weird Deer down with a lot of energy distribution to pull it up into the active spot. Weird Deer having ability that when it goes into the active spot, it can take a lot of energy with it, and its attack does more damage for energy attached to it. So Weird Deer is a great closer in that regard.
Yeah, and Davin electing to go for the G-Max Rapid Flow this turn, so won't be taking any knockouts. However, definitely setting up some of these Lugias to be Yoga Loop next turn if Paul is unable to evolve both of them.
We've got 180 out of 220 on the active. And then we've got 140 out of 220 on the bench Lugia. Both those Lugias looking really hurt. If they can be upgraded a little bit, might give him a bit of cushion, but it's looking tricky. If he finds a Lugia V-Star with that Ultra Ball, he could go out with just 1 Archeops, but colorless Lugia needs those dual Archeopses.
Yeah, has 2 Ultra Balls in hand, so should be able to get into 1 more Archeops here and then get into his V-Star, but maybe a little hesitant to discard some of the cards that he has in his hand. Always a little tough to throw away some energies for sure.
David going through his discard pile, seeing what resources he's used. Still sitting pretty. 2-card hand, Iono and a Water Energy is going to buy him some more cards as well. Interested to see what Paul does here.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to get his V-Star out now, and
2 Archeops is in the discard, so he's going to be fully powered up here.
Yeah, and I guess it'll be interesting to see which one he evolves. I think he has to evolve the active one to get that out of Yoga Loop range for next turn.
Does Daven have the ability to do... I suppose he could. We don't have the Alakazam down, so he's not going to be moving damage around, so his math gets a little bit trickier, but based on his experience, it sounds like he's already set himself up with enough spread damage to do whatever he needs to do.
Yeah.
The
Also,
Artillery, finding those Rapid Strike Pokemon and Rapid Strike cards.
his hand is pretty good right now. He has Water Energy to get another Double Gunner off, and then he has Iono, and as he's taken just one knockout, we'll see 5 new cards, plus 1 more off of the Rapid Strike Surge.
Paul might be hoping for 2 V-Stars and a Cheryl right now, but I don't think he plays a Cheryl in his deck. He does not.
Okay, so it looks like he will elect to evolve the benched one and play the Iono.
Sequencing here, is there any reason why he would Iono first and then go grab his Archeopsis?
I think that was probably a bit of a mistake here. I guess the thing is he doesn't have an attacker set up, so there's probably nothing he really wants to Archeops to, but maybe wouldn't have hurt to do it at least once to be able to pivot his Lugia out of the active.
For most decks, having a lot of energy in your hand can be very beneficial. For Lugia, though, it can be a bit of a challenge because you cannot use Primal Turbo energy from your hand. You have to go get them out of your deck. So if that energy you need is in your hand instead of your deck, you are going to have a hard time putting a bunch of them out using those Archeopses.
Yeah, and it looks like Paul will have to attack with the Lugia V-Star this turn. Will likely be doing 220 damage if he decides to put 2 non-double turbos on there. However, it still has that Lugia V unevolved on the bench, and that's going to be for sure a huge liability for Paul next turn if he's, again, unable to evolve it this turn.
It does attach, it looks to be a gift energy, so if that Lugia does go down, he'll draw up to 7 cards in his hand. I think that might have been a little bit of an insurance policy. V-Guard energy as well, giving him an extra 30 hit points against V Pokemon. So generally, I think a smart grab. A challenging matchup here, though, because that Lugia V-Star does have so much damage on it already. Daven doing a great job, kind of just making everything a little bit softer so he has more options in the future here.
Yeah, and it looks like he did. Oh, and I think Paul forgot to announce to discard the stadium, and so that's pretty unfortunate. That's kind of a big misplay. This deck loves to have its Towers of Waters in play.
That is tough.
Has Nest Ball 2, will be able to grab that Radiant Alakazam this turn.
Radiant Alakazam has the ability to move. Oh, no, looks like we're going to make a Yoga Loop play here.
Yeah, makes sense. Paul put the Lugia V on the bench now, so Daven's just able to double gunner it once, which he did, and we'll be able to Yoga Loop. It doesn't even need to Rapid Strike search for the Tower of Waters as the stadium was not discarded last turn.
So, Yoga Loop on the Medicham V. Unique ability. A couple other cards that have done it in the past, but if you take out your opponent's Pokemon or knock out your opponent's Pokemon with that ability, you immediately get to take another turn, which can be quite devastating. It's hard to pull off, but I think we're about to see Daven do just that.
Yeah, and taking another turn means you get to do more double gunners. You get to Alakazam again.
There's
you get to play
Alakazam.
another supporter. The only thing you can't do after taking a knockout with Yoga Loop is Yoga Loop again on the following turn.
They probably play tested it and realized they had to add that special little text there. A great sequencing here from Daven. Really fun to see someone using those unique kind of mechanics.
And we'll be retreating into that Medicham. We'll see the Yoga Loop come through onto that bench Lugia V.
Oof.
That's two prizes
and getting to go
another
again.
Turn. Yeah, that is a very, very tough break for Paul for sure.
How much health does Medicham V have?
Medicham V has 210 HP.
So well within the range of a Lugia attack. The challenge is we are now down to three prize cards on Daven's side. Paul yet to take a prize card. Lugia, not to be underestimated though. You have all the energy you could ever possibly want on demand. Does have 2 double turbos prized, but never call a Lugia deck out.
Yeah, we'll see 2 double gunners coming through after the retrieval to grab 2 of the water energies.
Thinking. Comes Melanie, grabbing a water energy, attaching it. Drawing 3. An extra stadium just in case stadium does get discarded. Going back in for another rapid strike.
Yeah, and yeah, we're gonna be rapid strike searching for that rapid strike energy.
Question for you, Max. If you were to retreat the Medicham and then bring it back into the active, can you use Yoga Loop again, or does the subtext specifically rule that out?
The subtext specifically stops that from happening. Looks like we'll see some Radiant Alakazam Painful Spoons shenanigans coming through again, putting that Lugia up to 170 HP, which should
110
put
away.
the math perfectly for his his Inteleon taking the KO here through the V-Guard.
V-Guard energy still making it a little bit harder, but the math was still in Davin's favor. Archeops, not a bad attacker. Archeops, not your main attacker. Davin just needs to take one of them out to win this match. As much as I love colorless Lugia, one of my favorite decks, if it doesn't go off by the second turn, you're going to be struggling.
Yeah, and I think again, a couple unfortunate mistakes. By not bumping that stadium on that turn with his Lugia, it allowed Davin more options after what he could have grabbed with his Rapid Strike Search on the Octillery. It basically allowed him for sure to get everything he needed for the Yogaloo play. I'm not sure if he had the stadium in his hand already, but if he didn't, he would have likely had to grab that off of it, and possibly he wouldn't have been able to have the energy to get that second KO after Yogaloo.
Seeing Drapion come up, though, I believe Drapion no energy cost right now.
Yeah, underrated attacker in this matchup. People always think about Lugia for Mew, but it also works against Single Strike Lugia and Rapid Box.
An interesting use of Drapion. I like it. Typically, that's just the one-off for that Mew matchup. Or maybe 2 if you just want an easier time. But an easy 2-prize KO. Unfortunately, Drapion is a little bit squishy.
It is also weak to fighting Pokemon, so this Medicham will be able to get the KO after putting 2 more damage off after the Alakazam.
And with that attack, Davin is the winner against the colorless Lugia, one of my personal favorites. Unfortunately, Squawkabilly was prized. Such a cool deck, though. Lugia was so dominant at the end of the pre-rotation scene that people got sick of it. I personally loved it, but it's nice to see its own kind of special flavor coming back with Weirdeer, Radiant Charizard. Unfortunately, just not able to get it set up in time, which is the Achilles heel that made Lugia drop from best deck in format to pretty good.
Pretty good.
Yeah. Still a great deck, but challenging to get it set up. The capturing Aroma, always a bit of a risk.
Yeah. Able to see what Rapid Box can do, though. Davin piloting it excellently, showing that the deck, while not super popular, is very strong and has a lot of great matchups right now, a lot of answers to a lot of things.
You get to go twice if you do it right. I mean, how cool is that?
It's a pretty cool
turns
attack.
in a row. Good job for Davin. We'll be back in a little bit with an interview for the winner. I've played against him and lost, even playing Noivern, so Davin definitely knows what he's doing. So,
yeah, cool. Stay tuned. Welcome back. I'm here with our round 2 winner, Davin, on the Rapid Strike box. Davin, congrats on the win.
Thank you.
Super well played. So I guess my first question for you is, when will you play a deck that's not Rapid Strike box?
Definitely when it rotates. I'm not sure what I'm going to do when Snorlax comes out, Snorlax Alakazam. I'm a little bit scared because I only play one switch right now, my Escape Rope. So it could be then, if that's a big meta call.
Yeah, so early on in our broadcast, we were talking about how you're the player to watch right now. Recently, you've won a cup, at least one challenge, 2 challenges, been cleaning up at League Nights. So yeah, you've really been showing that 1, Rapid Strike is a very good deck, and 2, you're a very good pilot of Rapid Box. What about the deck has drawn you to it?
Well, I was drawn to it a long time ago when I first started playing. I think it was at the Forge. I was playing like a Mewtwo GX deck of some sort, right? And my opponent had a Rapid Strike deck. And I was like so blown away by how good like they were like pinging everything. And I was like, what are you even doing? And so since then, I was like, Rapid Strike is really good. I've always kind of wanted to play it, but like once I got more into the game and I was like playing some meta decks, I knew that it wasn't actually a good pick until I saw I forgot their name. They won a regional with it, and I was like, wait, this could actually be a good pick. And I thought about it, and I'm like, it's a really good pick. And now ever since I've been playing it, it's been taking off, and so I've been loving it now.
Yeah, in my testing for some upcoming regionals, looking at all the decks that are possible in play and what have good matchups, if you look at the Trainer Hail data, Rapid Box has an unbelievable matchup spread.
Yeah.
However, it's not a very popular deck. Not that many people are playing it. Why do you think that is?
I have no idea, and I really hope people don't start playing it because I really don't like the mirror. I cut a few cards that are really good against the mirror, and so if I hit the mirror, I usually lose. But against like every other deck, I think I've optimized it to really do good against the meta. I don't know why people aren't playing it. I feel like more people should be playing Rapid Strike.
Yeah. Okay. So what do you think that your worst matchups are? You said you don't like playing the mirror, but what about some other matchups? What do you not want to see as Rapid Strike Box?
The mirror, I've lost to Mew almost every time until I've decided to finally put Drapion back in, because I've noticed Mew has been getting way too comfortable recently. Besides that, it's the mirror, and then just any player that really knows what Rapid Strike plays is really good against me. Like my friend Peyton, he knows how to beat me with like any deck now because he knows the list really well and he knows how it's played. And so if you really are to get around Rapid Strike and get around what it's doing, you can still beat it.
All right, and then my last question for you is, for anyone who may be looking at Rapid Strike Box and hasn't played the deck before, what advice would you give to them for starting out with that deck?
Do your math. That's my advice. Do your
good
math,
advice.
because if you mess up one little thing, if you mess up one damage counter, it could mean game. Really, with Rapid Strike.
All right, well, David, congrats on the win. Congrats on all your success recently with Rapid Strike Box, and good luck in the next couple rounds.
Thank you.
Welcome back, Pokemon fans. We have something special now. It is going to be the juniors and seniors. We've got Tinkaton, one of my favorite decks. Gives you giant hand sizes, played by Lena. And then Isaiah is playing an interesting kind of Miraidon, electrical, Regieleki. Very powerful, routinely beats me with it. Really excited for this. These deck lists, especially Lena's, are fantastic. There is some stuff we were not expecting in here. This is the matchup that I'm the most excited for.
Yeah, it's always fun watching some of the up and coming players in the scene. You know, it's always great to have a league where you have a lot of juniors and seniors show up. You know, that like as the years go on, the scene will just keep growing, and that's a lot of fun for me too.
And one of the nicest things about Pokemon too is you can come to an event like this and you can have intimidating adults that are coming in from Wisconsin to compete, and then you have kids that are playing that are just doing this for fun, and just everyone is kind. It's a really nice scene here at the Forge playing Pokemon like this, even on a tournament basis. So,
yeah, ton of fun. Yeah, Isaiah running Miraidon with the Regielekis, like you were saying. That's a build of Miraidon that has become a little less popular over the last couple weeks as the Flaffy version plays really well at Worlds, but still very powerful. It has a lot it can do. Hitting those bigger numbers can take care of a lot of threats.
Miraidon doing what Miraidon does best, though. He's going to go get all of his friends and put them onto the bench. He does run a 1-1 Mareep and Flaffy to get a lot of energy acceleration. We're going to see one of those going down right now. Yep, there's Flaffy. Probably going to be evolved pretty soon. Into a Mareep. Another Miraidon going down. Going to go get some more friends. Lucky V going down. We might see a full bencher.
Yeah, and something maybe interesting to note here is that Lena has started the Shuppet.
Okay. I like it.
And so I believe that is the item lock Shuppet. So going second, she does have the possibility to shut off the electric generators and switching cards next turn for Isaiah.
Isaiah's entire energy acceleration, with the exception of that Flaffy, is going to be electric generators attaching from, if he gets lucky, drawing off the top of the deck, attaching 2 energy to his bench if he finds them. But if that Bennett EX goes out and item locks, which for the non-nuanced players, means he can't play any items from his hand. No Pokeballs, no generators. It shuts down a lot of decks. He wouldn't have been able to play that Ultra Ball. So I'm hoping she gets it out just so we can see some craziness happen here.
Yeah, and going second, she has the opportunity to lock with the Shuppet itself if she flips heads.
Does she play Boost Shake? No, she does not play Boost Shake. That would be cool. Anyway, exciting to see this matchup. Isaiah, a little bit more of an experienced player. Already got his full bench set up. Radiant Greninja for the draw support there, going through his bench pretty fast. Interesting to see how Lena develops her hand size. Tinkaton known for having giant hands. The more cards in your hand, the more damage it does. Got to get those evolved though. Stage 2 Pokemon's really taking over this Scarlet and Violet era Pokemon.
Yeah, and it looks like she will be relying on the Gather Materials Tinkaton as her draw engine for this deck.
Oh, she's playing a Mimikyu as well, but it's a Mimikyu EX.
All right, so she'll be playing Clavel. So she'll be able to get a few basic Pokemon into play, get them on her bench. Likely will be going for a couple of Tinkatinks.
Let's see what she chooses here. Got a Cresselia. Interesting choice. Not the normal Cresselia we see with the Gardevoir.
Yes, I believe this is the one that accelerates energy.
All right, smart choice. Luminous energy, therapeutic energy in there as well.
All right, she'll grab a Tinkatink.
I think right now, if I were Isaiah, I see these cards going down. It's tough to plan for this deck. Because with normal meta decks, you see Mew go out, you kind of know what to expect. You see a Lugia go down on the first turn, you're not expecting anything too crazy. This Tinkaton build, though, has me stoked to see what this thing is capable of. I do have 2 4-guesses in the prize cards.
And I believe that one,
Tinkaton as well.
yeah, the Florges, I believe, takes weakness out of play for your Pokemon, which shouldn't have too much relevance in this matchup, but could be nice going against a metal deck.
All right, Spiritomb down as well. You're not going to see any fleet-footed with that tomb in play.
She does get the energy attachment down on the Shuppet, so if she does flip heads with this attack,
Come on, item lock.
could shut off Isaiah's energies.
Here we go.
And looks like that was unfortunately a tails.
Was that a,
Was it a flip? I'm not
I
sure.
don't think that. I think she
Maybe
just
she just dropped the die. Oh, okay. No, that was the roll. Looks like.
Alrighty. Unfortunately, not getting that.
Oh, there's
here
the
we
roll.
go.
Oh,
it's item lock time.
That is item lock.
All right, Isaiah now currently no items in his hand. He does have the Flaffy, getting the beach cord out to reduce his retreat cost.
Yeah, and I guess Isaiah still should be able to get an attack off because he got that Mareep down last turn.
I think he's going to attach to energy. Oh, let's see. The Miraidon now has no retreat cost, so he can go into that Raikou, doing 200 points of damage.
Gonna be 200 damage. That is correct. And so, I guess a little unfortunate for Lena. It looked like everything was going her way, shutting off those electric generators. But Isaiah, having the cards in play he needed to get an attack off this turn.
Smart move getting the Mareep Flaffy out as soon as possible to get that kind of backup energy acceleration. Not doing any fleet-footed though, drawing any cards from that because of that Spiritomb in play. Another smart move on Lena's side. Have her move a Pokemon up in the active position, see what she chooses.
Oh,
That was from hand, I think.
that was from hand.
Alright. That strangely was legal. I like it though.
Well, oh yeah. Got the evolution coming down on the one that came into play this turn.
Isaiah being very patient, kind of showing her which one went into play. I believe she has to switch Pokemon, or put one into play, then draw a card, and then she can evolve it.
That is correct, yeah.
Showing the kindness of some of the players here, saying happy to help. I got a question about Spiritomb affecting Flaffy Mareep.
Just going to be turning off the Raikou V's Fleet-Footed, though. Alright, she'll be attaching an energy to the benched Tinkatink.
Tinkatink itself, not that powerful an attacker.
Yeah, not going to do too much, and looks like she will play Youngster to shuffle her hand and draw 5 new cards, electing not to evolve her active Tinkatink, though.
I don't know what the thought process was behind that. Maybe a little bit flustered from...
I was going to say maybe she's going for some kind of rare candy play, but she did
There you
already attach the energy.
Alright, switch cart. This energy will help next turn.
Did draw into another Tinkatuff, so could still evolve the active Tinkatink if she so chose.
We got there, we got Jigglypuff from Paldea. Which Jigglypuff is that one?
That is, yeah, it's the one that accelerates. The Wigglytuff accelerates therapeutic energy from deck, I believe.
That's why we were seeing therapeutic energy in the deck. Is it from deck or is it from hand?
Yeah, so it looks like playing a lot of different energies in this deck makes sense as the gathering material Tinkatink does more damage if you attach a special energy. So playing several special energies to get that effect.
A lot of tech cards for other decks as well. That Spiritomb really powerful against the Mew matchup. Seeing Isaiah shuffle his deck after the Processor's research, going to see 7 new cards. His bench is pretty full. He's got a lot of things powered up. If you were Isaiah right now, you'd be pretty comfortable with what's going on right now.
That's for sure. He's got one attacker powered up in Raikou. He's got a couple energies on his bench Miraidon for when the Raikou falls. Going to be seeing a whole new hand here. I would say Isaiah's in a pretty good spot here. The Flaffy's still going to be able to just power things up as he needs.
Potentially going to find a Regieleki VMAX just so his electric Pokemon doing a little bit more damage. Right now, not really needed. Nothing on the bench, the Lena, or in the active is going to survive this Raikou.
Yeah, and Lena, I guess, hasn't been able to get down a ton of Tinkatinks, which would be her best answer to taking out some of these threats from Isaiah. So hopefully she's able to get a few more down next turn.
Serena over an energy choice with that trekking shoes. Did get the Regieleki VMAX in play, so doing a little bit more damage.
Yeah, this fleet-footed now doing 230 damage.
Knockout. Isaiah has taken 2 prize cards. Lena just starting to get revved up here. If I were Isaiah right now, I would be just sort of holding my hand, I would think. Maybe do some hand disruption, but if she sees like she's frozen up a little bit, hold that Iono.
Yeah, I think Isaiah's pretty comfortable. Any Ionas at this point is probably hurting him more than her until she gets those Tinkatuffs in play.
Cresselia currently in the active. Can't read it through the camera here. What is that one doing?
I believe that is the one that allows you to search your deck for 2 energy cards and attach them to either one of your bench Pokemon, I think, or you pick 2 and attach 1 to each.
A deck we don't normally see. I've got lots of questions for you, Max. This is
Yeah,
an
no
interesting
problem.
matchup.
Yeah, it's an interesting card. I believe too. I think that's one of those few attacks that is able to be used going first as well. I'm pretty sure.
All right, so additional flexibility there for that Cresselia. The traditional Cresselia that we see with the Gardevoir allows you to take the damage from your bench and your Pokemon and then place them on your opponent's Pokemon, but this one is a slightly different version. Lena showing that she is play Pokemon enthusiast as well, playing that play Pokemon version of it too. Kind of a little, I'm serious, I'm here to play. Look at my card that I won.
All right, and over to Isaiah. He's going to just continue powering up some of his attackers. Attach from hand. Use Flaffy's Dynamotor on another Miraidon here.
If I were Isaiah right now, I would be maybe not just continuing to go through my deck. I don't think he's necessarily worrying about decking out, but he is seeing a lot of cards that I don't necessarily think he needs at this point. Maybe going for a boss's orders just in case or something, but...
All right, and
Arvin looking for a Bravery
looks like
Charm.
we got a couple Q&As coming in here too. Which card are we most excited for coming out in Pokemon 151?
Max, you're the competitive player headed to Pittsburgh. What are you looking for?
Sure,
And
yeah.
why is it Mew?
Yeah, Mew is certainly a very exciting card coming out. Has the ability, I think, to make Colorless Lugia a really, really, really strong deck. That's like a great include for Colorless Lugia, I think. Is
The Genome Hack?
the Genome Hack, yeah.
Charizard getting Charizarded by the Mew.
Yeah, Lugia definitely doesn't hate to have a free retreater as well.
That is
has
true.
a pretty good ability. However, I think the card that I'm personally most excited for is the Arbok EX.
Okay, walk me through it.
Yeah, for sure. So Arbok EX has 2 attacks. Its first attack does, for 2 dark, 70 damage, and it locks your opponent from retreating. But the cool attack, for 3 dark, it does 150 damage, and your opponent discards 2 cards from their hand.
Do you get to choose those cards at random?
They are, I believe your opponent gets to choose.
enough.
I'm not totally sure, but I believe your opponent gets to choose. We just haven't had, that's one of the stronger hand, discarding cards we've had in a long time. Might not be good, but, before I was a Goodra player, I was a Darkrai player, so I'm always interested to see cool new dark cards that come into the format.
And it seems like the Pokemon Company has been paying attention to what has dark weakness with the upcoming releases as well, because Mew and Gardevoir are definitely still a thing, and having those dark Arboks might be extremely useful. 150 damage, maybe with a little bonus from a choice belt will, one-shot a Mew?
Yeah, that's definitely an option. Have the option to play Spirit Mask too, which would allow it, an extra discard coming through when they hit your Arbok. Yeah, so it could be an interesting card. I'm not sure how good it'll be, but I always love, cool dark attackers. I'm always looking at them when they come out.
Fantastic.
How about you, John? What card are you most excited for?
I have been trying to make Pikachu V-Union item lock work, so Mew is currently my Kricketune substitute. That will buy me a little bit more time. You go through about half your deck trying to make that work, so it'll be nice to have something that can actually attack when I fail the Pikachu V-Union turn 1 item lock.
Nice, yeah. That Mew EX, I do think is going to be one of the stronger cards we see coming out of that set, and I am really excited to see what people can do with it.
Bringing it back here to Isaiah, a lot of energy on the field. Did see a little bit of damage from Lena on her last turn. I think Isaiah is sitting pretty strong right now. Got the Spiritomb up in the active and then taking it out with that Raikou, which has been living in the active spot for quite a while now.
Yeah, and
Bravery Charm 2 made it a little bit tougher.
Bravery Charm is going to make that Raikou quite tankier. I think Lena probably just hoping to draw into a Psychic Energy here to get an attack off with that Radiant
There it is.
Alakazam, which she did hit. which does, I believe it's 20 damage for each card in your opponent's hand.
Isaiah's been collecting cards. Can do a lot. Does she have a way to get another? Oh, there's another energy
Yeah,
behind
there
that.
is one more energy already on there.
Alakazam is powered up. Oh, counting them out, seeing how much damage we're doing.
And you know, if that Braviary Charm wasn't on there, she would be taking a KO. But it looks like this Raikou will live with a little bit of HP. Gonna be living with, I believe, 20 health left. What is that? She was at, it did 220. There was 10 already on there, 230. So yeah, 20 HP left.
Hanging on by Bravery Charm. Going back to Isaiah, draw a card. I would be surprised if we saw too much. Got to move it out of the active spot. Beach Court allowing that free retreat. Miraidon headed up.
And just gonna take the KO. Makes a lot of sense. Going into her Tinka Tough. And, you know, Isaiah down to that one last prize card. Looks like, unless she's able to find the EX this turn,
Unless she's able to find something really big, powerful that does a lot of damage for very low energy, it's going to be tough. I was hoping that we were reading her list here that was a regular flavor Mimikyu, not a Mimikyu EX, because a regular Mimikyu in the active spot would almost completely shut Isaiah down.
yeah, Miraidon does not play many answers to it. Her only option would be to attack with that Dynamote or Flaffy, which doesn't even one-shot it. It's a two-shot.
Yes.
And the Mimikyu can do quite a bit of damage to it.
Just so our viewers or listeners are aware, we do have the card list of the players in front of us, so we can kind of see what's still in their deck and try to see what they're going to be playing with here. All right, you got that stage 2 in place right now.
It is going to be the Gather Materials one, so she'll discard one card and draw 3 more cards. But this
it
one
enough?
only does 180 damage.
Got a Great Ball going down, trying to find another Pokemon. I don't know, what would she go looking for that would help her in this situation?
Unfortunately, I don't know if there's much she can find here that will turn this matchup around. It looks like she grabbed the Shuppet. And probably just going to swing with the Tinkaton if she's able to find one more energy to attach to it, which she does. Special energy, so we'll be doing 180.
Not quite enough to take the Miraidon out, though.
Not quite enough, and all Isaiah will need to do is just retreat into his benched Miraidon to take the last KO.
With that, Isaiah takes his last prize card. It is really nice to see someone like Isaiah, if Lena has questions, a good conversation at the table, kind of a respectful game. The nice thing about Pokemon is everyone here is actually pretty chill. It is Pokemon cards, so we all know we're here to have fun. It's nice to see that, having a slightly older player playing a slightly younger player. An interesting matchup, though. I love Tinkaton. I especially love Tinkaton EX. It's just the giant hand sizes. It's the best mechanic ever. You get all the cards, all the options, and then you're just swinging for like 50,000 damage.
Yeah, who doesn't like to announce the attack of Big Hammer?
I do 2,000 points of damage. We're back here a little bit with interview with Isaiah. I'm actually looking forward to it. He's beaten me consistently, I think, like 4 times in a row, so it's going to be nice to chat to him about how he won with this deck again. I'll be back in a little bit.
Yeah, stay tuned.
Welcome back, Pokemon fans. We are back here with our Game 3 stream winner, Isaiah, who has kicked my butt multiple times. It's nice to see him win again. Isaiah, you sat down at the table. There were some questions. You were a gentleman. You were polite. You won. Great game. What were you thinking when you sat down? You see Tinkatons go out. You see Psychic cards you don't normally see. The Cresselia, but not the Gardevoir one. What were you thinking when you sat down against that deck?
I was so lost in that matchup. Like, I thought it was like some sort of item lock deck, but I haven't really seen any Bayonet deck lists. And then I saw Tinkaton come out, and I didn't know what to think.
It was nice to see you, though, doing what you do best. You got your Miraidons out. You got your bench all set up. You had the Mareep and the Flaffy doing all the energy that you needed. So once you got set up, what were you thinking then? Were you a little more comfortable?
Once I got set up, I felt like I had it in the bag, you know, just because the deck if you can get it set up, it moves so fast.
That is true. That is Miraidon's kind of best ability is you get your buddies out, you get all set up, and they're ready to go. You did get item locked, though. Were you concerned when that happened?
Not terribly, because she had no energy spread around. I don't know. I had no items in my hand. I had a Forest Seal Stone I could use.
So
it didn't really concern me too much.
You had a good workaround. You were ready to go. It was nice seeing your bench get totally set up. That Regieleki VMAX went out. We know you were searching for that extra damage. You got that Bravery Charm out. That was an awesome grab from the Arven, I think.
Yes.
It looks like you really knew your deck and you were really chewing through it. Excellent win. What's your score tonight? How are you doing?
I'm 3-0 tonight.
Congratulations. I think that might make you the junior senior champion, maybe?
Hopefully.
Well, congratulations on your packs. Thanks for taking the time to talk to us, and excellent work putting that Miraidon deck to work.
Yep, no problem.
Cheers. Pokemon players, welcome back to the Forge. The tournament continues tonight. This is round 4. Michael versus Dennis. Dennis playing a deck that's not something we normally see. Cross from Michael. Do you want to explain to the viewers how Zoro works?
Yeah, so Hisuian Zoroark V-Star is a Pokemon we haven't seen much of lately, but it does a lot of damage. It does 50 damage for every Pokemon on your field that has damage counters on it. So, with a full board and a double turbo on it, and your full board has damage, it can do 280 damage. So that's quite a lot of damage, and it can a lot of times it can just turn to hit for 280.
So you're hurting yourself a little bit, so you can hurt your opponent a lot of it.
That's the idea.
All right, Michael playing pretty standard Gardevoir, playing an extra vacuum, which you pointed out to me is for what?
It's going to be mostly for Path to the Peak, but also, specifically in this matchup, it's really good against the Vengeful Punches that Dennis is playing. And also, any Box of Disasters against decks that might play that, but it'll be very good in this matchup to get rid of Dennis's Vengeful Punches.
Box of Disaster, you take me out, I take you out. Vengeful Punch, though, sort of the same thing. Vacuum will be used for getting rid of those. Both of the players seem to have pretty good starts. We got Gapejaw Bog going out. That's going to start putting some damage on his own Pokemon, getting ready to hurt himself so that he can hurt that Guardy. Ralts, though, a great start for Gardevoir, which you always want to see. We do look like we've prized a Curlia, a Shining Arcana Gardevoir, and a Ralts, and a Battle VIP. So not the best things to prize, but also not the worst. Ooh, 2 Zoroark V-Stars, though.
Yeah, that's actually pretty tough for him, but he does play.
Those run 4 of them.
Does run 4, so we'll have access to 2 and should, it's at the bottom of his prizes, so should be able to grab them after taking a knockout. Michael does play the Mirage Step Curlia, and so the really annoying thing about playing the Mirage Step Curlia is when you prize your other Curlias. So if that's a route he wants to go for, it will not be as powerful and effective as he would like.
Guardy players, though, going and seeing how many Raltses they have. We've got a Memory Skip. Memory Skip just in case.
Yep, and he'll grab, 2 routes out the VIP, 1 Psychic Energy off of the Fog Crystal, going back in with the Level Ball to grab the Mew from Celebrations.
Try to find that rare candy.
Try to find a rare candy, maybe try to find another VIP to set up his bench even more.
That would be nice.
Both pretty good options.
For those not familiar with how Gardevoir works, you may be seeing a lot of energy go into the discard pile for Gardevoir. Not something you traditionally see. However, Gardevoir EX, one of the most powerful cards in the Scarlet and Violet era, allows you to attach as many energy from your discard pile, psychic energy from your discard pile, however you want. And the only downside of that is you have to place 2 damage counters every time you do it. Gardevoir takes advantage of that too, playing some cards that the more damage they have on them, the more damage they do. Like Drifloon, very spicy take on that. I don't think we've got that in this matchup, but...
Yeah, it doesn't look like it has in this matchup. However, yeah, the big obstacle for Guardy to climb over in this matchup is Path to the Peak, which looks like Dennis is running 2 copies of that. One is prized, but it's at the bottom of his prizes. So a good way to approach the Guardy matchup is to maybe try to path them in the mid game, maybe try to pair that with some hand disruption.
The 2 stadiums being played by Michael kind of is only out to that beyond the 2 lost vacuums. Definitely can Forest Seal Stone and hold on to that if he finds one. But it looks like right now, even if he had a Forest Seal Stone in hand, he'd have no place to put it. Michael doing what Guardy does best, just kind of getting the bench out, getting those Raltses out, so even if you lose one, you got more. And we're seeing Dennis put that Vengeful Punch on there, a warning.
All right. Looks like Dennis will be playing the Iono. Has the Gapejaw Bog in play. Michael was not able to bump that. So that's an easy way for Dennis to get those damage counters onto his bench Pokemon. I think a big reason why Zoroark V-Star fell out of the meta, because it was a deck that was seeing a decent amount of play earlier on last season, is the loss of Quick Ball.
Quick Ball was also a useful tool in Lugia, and nerfed Lugia as well. Yeah, you lose a lot of flexibility there. Get rid of one, go find what you need. Basic.
Yeah, and because Nest Ball doesn't work very well in this deck because you put the Pokemon directly onto your bench, and that bypasses the damage that it would take from Gapejaw Bog.
So you're not quite getting your guys loaded up with 1 or 2 damage counters, so you're not quite hitting as hard as you would like. Seeing an energy lotto come down. Looks like Dennis is looking for some energy to get his dudes powered up.
All right.
Did he find one off that energy lotto? This is jet energy that.
Yeah, his hand is looking a little rough. Looks like he will just void return.
Back to the bench. Putting the same guy up front, just in a different order. All right, Michael's up. Got the Mew in the active. Gonna do discarding an energy, finding the lost vacuum just in case the Path to the Peak goes out. Did I see an Iono in the hand there too? Got a Stadium in hand.
Yeah, his hand is looking like he has most of the tools he's going to want to have in order to make an attack this turn.
And Corellia Draw Engine now firing up. Corellia probably the strongest card you've got for drawing in the Gardevoir matchup.
Yeah, there's everyone always looks at Mew when they think about decks that have a great draw engine, but Gardevoir is right up there with it. Being able to do on a turn, you could use Refinement 3 times, evolve 1 or 2 of those Curlies into Guardy, and see 4 more cards off of 2 Arcanas. So it can see a lot of cards on a turn if it needs to.
Scary thing about this Gardevoir matchup too is once Michael gets going, if there's not a Path to the Peak out, he can kind of do whatever he wants. I think that Vengeful Punch is a bit of a warning, saying, hey, if you take me out, I'll take you out too if you put too much damage on there, stacking up your guys. But it's going to get tricky. The longer Dennis waits to do something or get stuff out, it's tougher to beat.
All right, and Michael playing the Iono right back. Dennis probably not too sad to see that come out. His hand was pretty dead.
Ideally, what does Dennis want to see off these 6 cards?
He needs to get a bunch of Pokemon down. Like, if he could get, like, maybe some Gengars out with, like, an Ultra Ball, that would be cool. He definitely needs to see the V-Star on this turn as well. Looks like I do see an Ultra Ball in hand, so should be able to get there. Looks like Dennis is also playing the Radiant Alakazam. So that could be a way to take some like cheeky knockouts in this matchup too. If some of the attackers need to go down to really low, he can move a couple damage counters, take a knockout without even using his attack for the turn.
That Shiny Arcana Gardevoir is pretty squishy but does a lot of damage. And if you put it within 2 damage counters of dying, that could be an interesting knockout.
We see another Curlia coming down, 2 more cards into the hand.
Michael's seeing a lot of cards now. Rare Candy, and there it is, Gardevoir EX. No Path to the Peak in play, gonna switch it out into the active. Now all of that energy in the discard pile for Michael is available.
Yeah, and with Gapejaw Bog putting those 2 damage counters on his Zoroark V, that does put it in range for Guardy EX's Miracle Force to take a KO here.
So this turn, Dennis needs to get those Pokemon down. Got another Zoro on the bench.
Another Alakazam coming out.
So at this point, we are doing 100 damage.
We're doing 100 damage
If we can
currently.
find the V-Star.
Looks like he used Alakazam to take a knockout onto that Mew. So in order to... So something that could maybe come back to bite Dennis is I think he maybe should have held off on using Alakazam's power. Possibly. Because by taking those 2 damage counters off the Guardy EX, he puts it now, it's down to 270 HP when before it was at 250. So now he needs 1 additional Pokemon with damage counters on his bench in order to take that knockout.
However, at the same time, that one prize gave him Path to the Peak, so maybe he has a chance at stopping Guardy from doing Guardy things.
Yeah, that was probably about the best card he could have gotten here.
Let's see if he bumps that Gapejaw Bog for Path to the Peak. Kind of waiting to see what's in Michael's hand. If he's got the Clap Stadium or the Artisan or a Lost Vacuum, might not take.
Yeah, looks like he's got the damage pump in hand to move some damage onto his active V-Star, so he's pretty close to taking a KO here.
Alrighty. Gardevoir EX, an enormous amount of health, but hurting itself in the process. He did have to move some damage around from the Guardy to the Mew to take it out. But that's what you want to see. You want to see all your Pokemon have a little bit of damage on them, and you're swinging pretty hard.
Yeah,
V-Star comes into play as well.
we should be seeing the V-Star power come through here. It's just a Professor's research as a power, and opts to discard the Path to the Peak.
Interesting play. I hope he knows what he's doing there. You can get another one.
Yeah, he does play a second copy, but that is one less thing that Michael has to bump now with his stadiums and vacuums.
Suin Heavy Ball taking a peek at the prize cards. At this point, realizing that he got the best prize card last time.
Yeah, and before, one of those V-Stars was the next prize card he would have taken, so hopefully they don't move too far up to the top here.
All right, Dennis. So right now, Michael's got all of his draw power set up. He's got that Cresselia to move damage kind of at will where he wants it. Gardevoir not disabled because the Path of the Peak didn't go into play. But it does look like that Zoroark V-Star is in the correct position to be taken if he takes a prize.
Gonna flip heads on this Capturing Aroma. Could opt to take the other Zoroark V-Star in his deck, or could choose to take another Gengar. Looks like he will likely be taking this Gengar. If he has an Ultra Ball in hand,
Will that do enough damage to take out the Guardy?
that would do enough damage. Oh no, because he used that Radiant Alakazam to take some damage off, it would not be enough.
Gonna be at
He needs to
290.
do 270.
It would be at 290 currently with the 4 Pokemon with the damage on them. Put Gengar down though. Wouldn't that fix the math?
It's not quite enough. Yeah, he's doing 200 damage currently. Put it to 240. He needs a full bench to take a knockout here. However, if he had not used the Psychic or the Radiant Alakazam to move the damage, one more Gengar would have got the job done here. But it doesn't look like he has a way to even discard this Gengar in his hand, as far as I could tell. Oh, never mind, because he hasn't played a supporter yet. He only uses V-Star to discard some cards.
Alrighty.
I think he's just eyeing up his resources, making sure that he's not getting rid of anything too costly.
Luminion going down. Gonna go find his supporter. Maybe that was the reason why we didn't have Path of the Peak go down.
Makes sense.
Always a painful mistake when I place my Luminion down after I Path of the Peak.
Yeah.
Always a fun mistake to make.
And I guess he could opt to take the Arven here to grab an Ultra Ball. And I think that's the route that he's going to take.
That gets the Gengar on the bench, discard the Gengar, and then put it back on the bench. And
So-
that'll give him the math he needs to take out Guardy.
Yeah, so he will be swinging for, the full 300 damage.
That is an excellent turn.
Yeah, and looking like Dennis showing that he really is understanding what his deck can do. We were questioning discarding Path to the Peak, but he would not have been able to make this play if he had put it into play.
Wouldn't be able to Luminion. V-Star ability wouldn't have been able to have been used. It's got another Stadium in case it gets bumped there.
Oh, and
And there's the Gengar. Place 2 damage counters on that. 3 damage counters, excuse me. And now we are swinging.
all right, yeah, and that'll be 300 damage coming out. Take the KO.
I think a question about what the card, how the damage works. An interesting deck.
Interesting
like
deck
it.
for sure. Yeah, it's very much a turbo deck. The ability really plays into seeing a lot of cards early, trying to get those big knockouts early.
Dennis also playing some contingency stuff here too. If that Zoro takes a lot of damage, he does play 1 Sharon's Care, which will allow him to scoop all that up into his hand. Nothing more frustrating than placing not quite enough damage and then just all watching it disappear into your opponent's hand.
Yeah, having your turn erased like that can be definitely a game-changing move.
Michael now is going to see a lot of cards because that's what Gardevoir does. So you're Michael right now, Max.
Yeah.
You've seen your Guardy X go out. You've seen your opponent now is swinging for massive damage every turn. How do you respond to that?
Yeah, I mean, it looks like his best move here will probably be to attack with the Shining Arcana Guardy, probably to leave a 1 prize on the active. He also has the option of attacking with the Cresselia. I can't remember exactly how much HP the Alakazam and Gengar have, but I
You think it might be range if you spread it out with that?
possibly it might be in range.
Right now, he's got to go find that EX to upgrade that Curlia to the Guardy EX to do that. So some work that's got to be put in here before we can get there. Shining Arcana Gardevoir going out. Shining Arcana is a Pokemon for the energy attached to it is 30 per energy attached.
And then plus the base damage is 60,
60.
so that damage can ramp up very quickly.
You can bring that thing within Vengeful Punch KOing though. So might see Dennis taking a prize card here if he's not careful. If Michael's not careful at the same time.
And Iono coming out, Dennis had a huge hand going down to 3 cards. Unfortunately, once you've used the V-Star power in this deck, you don't really draw too many cards.
There's no draw engine.
There's no draw engine. Before these Zoroark decks, when they were playing B-Barrel, but Dennis is not playing that. He is playing no way to draw cards other than draw supporters at this point.
Whenever I see a Luminion on the bench too, the fish, everyone's always gunning for that easy 2 price. Not a lot of health, just kind of sitting there. Dennis can't use it in any way as far as I'm aware.
Yeah, looks like he doesn't play any. Yeah, there's no way for him to attack with it. It doesn't look like he plays a Collapsed or a Voldo, so that will be on his bench for the rest of the game. However, Michael does play Collapsed, so
If he collapses, that Luminion is leaving.
and
But
that is
Dennis
the
is
first
doing a lot
thing
less
going.
damage.
Yeah.
Interested to see what Michael's gonna go searching for right now. He's got the Zacian V. That's your heaviest hitter, where you're putting on a 2 price liability.
Yeah, the thing is though, with Zacian, you have to be a little bit careful because if you're not able to bench, or if you're not able to get rid of that Vengeful Punch, Dennis could maybe take a return KO with it. And even if it's not quite enough, he always has the Alakazam.
So, Zacian might take a KO, but then you might trade that 2 price cards for 1 prize card.
Yeah, and right now, Dennis is currently ahead in prizes if Michael's not able to take a KO this turn. It looks like he will, though. Getting into that, Gardevoir EX did have the Ultra Ball to get into it, but kind of a costly Ultra Ball. These Ionos are very, as we said, with no draw engine, these Ionos can be pretty devastating against Dennis's deck, and also getting rid of a boss's orders for an easy KO onto a Luminion.
Gardevoir now placing energy and damage on the Zacian. Shining Arcana Gardevoir, going to get some energy so it can retreat. And energy goes back into the discard pile, and then that energy just goes back wherever it's needed.
So 7 energies going on to the Zacian to put it at 80 HP left.
Vengeful Punch, not quite enough.
Vengeful Punch not going to be enough, and also not going to be enough to move the 20 off of that Shining Arcana onto it to take a KO after Vengeful Punch either. So Michael playing around it very well.
Paying
around
attention,
it-
yep,
yes.
paying attention.
Understanding exactly how much energy he needs on there to take the KO without worry of any trickery KOs coming in return.
Pulling ahead in prize cards as well, but he has have a heavily wounded 2 prize card liability in the active spot. How is Dennis's prize map looking right now?
If he's able to take a return KO onto this Zacian and combine it with like a path and some kind of hand disruption, like then he should be able to finish off something later. Like this deck's damage is this deck's problem is certainly not damage. It's able to hit very hard, very easily. The issue is it's kind of a glass cannon deck, you know, like we said, like you're hitting for a lot, but it's at the cost of lowering your HP.
Anything that goes out and takes KO is probably getting KO'd in return. Michael's really only out the 2 lost vacuums. I don't know how many we've seen. He's got the Artisan out, so if Path to Peak goes out, his options for getting rid of it are getting pretty limited. Dennis can draw into the Path of the Peak.
Looks like you got a heads, so should be able to find that V-Star. He's probably pretty happy about that.
Upgrade the active like that. Capturing Aroma. It makes you miss Evolution Incense.
Yeah, that was for sure one of the biggest losses of D-Block right now. There's not a ton of great cards to find you your evolutions.
Evolution Incense, rotated card, allow you to go and find any evolution Pokemon. Stage 1, V Max, V Star, kind of replaced by Capturing Aroma, which is roll a dice on a basic, on a tails, find a basic, and on a heads, find an evolution. So a lot of random number generating going on in these newer cards.
Yeah, I believe
Consistency is lost.
Evo Instance, I believe, was a 4 of in this deck before rotation. So we've seen the V-Star come down. We've seen another Zoroark come down. We have not seen a Path come down.
I think if he would have had it, he would have used it. Alakazam moving some damage around, kind of setting up that Shredding Arcana Gardevoir for an easier KO.
I think the main purpose behind doing it this way is that now that Shining Arcana Gardevoir has a much harder time getting into range to KO. But just like that, Lumineon makes a really strong play for Dennis early, but loses him the game late as sitting on the bench like that.
Super useful, dies early. Great game. Awesome to see Dennis playing a bit avant-garde deck, kind of making his way back into vogue. But Michael doing Gardevoir things.
Yeah, Gardevoir doing Gardevoir things. It was a pretty close match. Dennis showing off that Zoroark V-Star does have a lot of cool tools still, can do some cool things, but Gardevoir, sometimes it just does a little too much for you to overcome it.
I would not be surprised in 151 or the next releases that they try to Mew Gardevoir a little bit and nerf that ability with a special card release.
I could see that for sure.
They made a mistake with Mew and they tried to fix it a couple times. I'm willing to bet that we're going to see some nerfs for Gardevoir coming down the line. Personal prediction. So, powerful deck though. I'll be right back though with interviewing the winner, Michael, and seeing what he thought of the match.
Welcome back to the Forge's League Challenge. I'm here with Michael, our winner of this last round. Michael, congrats on the win. Yeah, you played a pretty popular deck in Gardevoir against a pretty not popular deck in Zoroark. When he flipped over his cards and you saw it, what was the first thing that came to your mind?
Yeah, I couldn't remember what the V-Star did. Like, I knew it had like it's like Palkia's attack, where it's like X amount of damage for your bench or something, but I couldn't remember exactly what it did. And then even I like read the card when he attacked with it, and for some reason I still thought it only did 250. I didn't realize it like counted itself. So it caps at 300, and so he knocked out my Gardevoir, and I was like, oh, I even looking at the card, I like still don't know what it does. But yeah, I was kind of it's cool. Like, you don't really see that deck anymore, and so like seeing it was like a really cool thing. So.
Yeah, we saw he was playing 2 copies of Vengeful Punch, which is a card you probably don't want to see, but when we were looking at your list, we saw you were playing 1 extra tech card that most Guardies aren't, in a second Vacuum. You want to tell us about why you chose to include a second Vacuum in your list?
Yeah, so I have just been playing, like, Gardevoir is the only deck I have, so each like cup or challenge I've been like trying out new things in anticipation for Pittsburgh. And I was talking with some friends last night, and we were talking about like the 4 stadium outs to Path, and so for today I just decided to try out Double Vacuum because that gives Mew like a better chance to find it and makes Mew like less dead in the like mid game against Path decks. So I had it in there, and I actually had it in my hand at one point before I Iono'd, and I thought I played it, and I just didn't. And then he still had the balloon, and I was like, oh, this is like a problem. Luckily Zork only has 270, so I only need 7, which is like perfect math, because if I needed 8, then that would put me to 200 after the balloon, and then he could Alakazam move and knock it out, and I'd probably lose. So it was fortunate to work out that way, but yeah, I should be okay against it because I had double vacuum. So.
Yeah. So anyone who's watching these games, Gardevoir is a really powerful deck, can do a lot of things. Is there any advice you'd give to a new player that wanted to pick up Gardevoir?
That's a good question. I don't know. I've always really liked Stage 2 decks, and Gardevoir is just, like, there are some games where you just set up and your opponent doesn't really do anything. Like, they can't really interact with you because, like, every turn you'll swing for, whatever, 300, 330. So, like, Gardevoir is a pretty easy deck, I feel like, to pick up and play. It's not like Lost Box where you have, like, a bunch of moving pieces at one time, but it still gives you a lot of, like, power level. It has Snipe, it has a bunch of extra draw, extra energy attachments, so it feels like really powerful. Like, you can do a lot of really, like, you can kind of cheat the game every turn, you know what I mean? Attach multiple energy, draw a bunch of cards. So I don't know, I would just say, like, pick it up. It's pretty easy to play. Obviously there's some intricacies in it, but it's a pretty fun deck.
Awesome. Yeah, and so you mentioned you're going to Pittsburgh. Do you have any predictions for Pittsburgh that you wanna share?
I would assume, yeah, it seems like Lost Tina is gonna be probably like 15%. I would guess it's the most popular deck, although I don't think any deck will be like more than 15%, which is part of the reason why I'm playing Gardevoir, because I feel like Gardevoir has a much better matchup into Tina than it does like Turbo Lost Box. But other than that, no, I don't really know. I mean, the prediction is I'm gonna win. So
Nice.
So.
All right, you heard it here first. Michael's winning a Pittsburgh Regional. All right, thanks, Michael. Congrats on the win, and good luck in the next round.
Thank you.
Welcome back, Pokemon fans. Got an interesting matchup here. William playing pretty standard Lost Tina, but the exciting thing here is Kevin, who is playing Arcpile.
Yeah, and not just any Arc Pile. We got a spicy Arc Pile coming your way here.
This Arcpile is specifically designed to looks like take out Charizard, good draw support, but then Flying Pikachu.
Yeah, Flying Pikachu, pretty good attacker into Lost Box, pretty good attacker into Chi and Pao. Yeah, has a lot of different uses.
And look at that, we're playing Lost Box. This is going to be interesting. Interesting to see. We got one Superior, one Arceus prize for Kevin. We've already had the throw, but we don't know who's going first. A Giratina V-Star prize for William. Path of the Peak as well. Nothing super deadly here, Max. Are you seeing any of their prize cards that would cause any problems?
It's not really looking like it for the most part. I guess the Iono is, it's nice to have those early to disrupt any Lost Box decks, but I think he plays a couple, so should have access to at least one more in the deck.
So right now, William is trying to get as many in the Lost Zone as he possibly can, so he can start Requiem and just remove something from the board. what is Kevin trying to do with this arc pile? Because there's a lot going on. Walk me through this.
Yeah, so I think overall, it doesn't have a great answer for Giratina, but there's not a lot of decks that do specifically for Giratina. He won't be one-shotting any Giratinas. Every time he wants it into a Tina, it's going to be a 2-shot.
Okay.
So yeah, we'll definitely see William going to try to set up probably 2 Tinas this game at least.
Okay.
And I guess so. Something about Flying Pikachu is that you can just Star Requiem it. And you can just one-shot a VMAX, and that's like pretty good. That's pretty tough for a deck to deal with when they just one-shot your big guy like that.
Is that Raikou? I'm not seeing that on his list.
No,
Here at the
that's
bottom. Never mind. We've got him actually down here. That was my mistake. So wondered for a second there's no Raikou on the list where that was coming from. Not a bad start though. Fleet-footed, draw a card. Helps a little bit.
Yeah. So if William ever chooses to fill his bench, which it's kind of hard not to fill your bench as a Lost Box player, that Raikou could one-shot a Giratina. Doesn't seem too bad. Also playing the Zamazenta, the Crown Zenith Zamazenta, which is kind of a good one-price attacker. It will do 220 if one of your Pokemon was knocked out during your last turn.
Retribution attacker. So they take one, you take one minimum.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see what Kevin does against this matchup. Lasso and Giratina is such a difficult deck to plan around. There's not a lot you can do to directly counter what it wants to do.
Lost Tina started out in the Scarlet and Violet era as being the deck that you had to beat and quickly fell off in favor of other Lost Phone variants. And now here we are back in Obsidian Flames, and it is best deck in format.
Yeah, Path is just so strong right now that any deck that can comfortably use Path seems pretty good. Something that could really shut down this arc pile list is if it gets Path early and is unable to Starbirth.
All right. And you like that deck so much, you are going to be playing this in Pittsburgh?
Yeah, that will be my choice for Pittsburgh.
All right. Hopefully we can get Path of the Peak out early for William. Kevin probably hoping not. Kevin, kind of a first draw and a pass with an empty bench right now.
Yeah.
A little bit worrying.
Not getting the Arceus down turn 1 is pretty brutal for sure. Arceus decks need to get that Arceus down and get that energy attachment so they can get rolling. Without it, there's not a ton you can do. At least he got an attachment for turn onto the Raikou V, so next turn if he has an energy, he can at least start taking some knockouts.
William right now going with the Battle VIP passes. Arceus, turn 1, get it down. Turn 2, you can use the V-Star power to go search for cards, and if you can attack, you can attach up to 3 energy to your V Pokemon, which is extremely powerful energy acceleration, and you just kind of go find what you need. So if you don't get that down right away, don't get that process started, it's tough to catch up. Especially Lost Box. They're going to see a lot of cards, they're going to get what they need, they're going to have a lot of options.
Yeah, William getting the Cramorant down this turn, so should be able to do 110 to that Raikou.
How many? We're at 3 in the Lost Zone right now. And they're flower selecting.
So
2 more cards.
4. Pretty
Got a
easy
Colress.
choice.
Mirage Gate can bring him to 4. Cramorant spin endlessly, now online. And then next turn, got that Colress in hand to get 2 more. Attaching a Fire Energy, retreating. We're going to see a Cram.
Yeah, and Fire Energy, that's something you pretty much never see in Lost Tina. Looks like opting for Radiant Charizard as his Radiant Pokemon. Almost every Tina list plays the Radiant Greninja, so that's quite interesting that he's playing the Charizard. And something about the Radiant Greninja is you're gonna shut off your own Radiant Greninja with Path a lot.
You are indeed.
And you're pretty okay with that because the Greninja is mostly there for the attack. It's there for early draw when you don't have Path, and when Path is in play, it's there to threaten the 90-90. I don't think that William is playing any way to bump Path to the Peak.
That is going to be not the end of the world. But he's not drawing off Raikou. He is not going to be able to use his Radiant Charizard's ability. He's going to have to really power that up at the end of the game if he wants to use that. Mirage Gate's going to be at least 2 Mirage Gates to get that going and 1 from the hand. He had one fire energy already going out of his hand.
And Kevin with a big research, getting rid of a double turbo energy, a box of disaster, an Arc V Star, and some other things. But yeah, just really needs to get into an Arceus this turn.
Working our way through the turns here, still no one really doing a lot of damage. Spit instantly from William onto Kevin's Raikou. I'm getting concerned. Kevin only has one Pokemon still out. Doesn't look like he's got really any options in his hand except for a Squirtle and a Bibarel.
Yeah,
I want to get that draw engine going just so you got something going on.
Yeah, but the danger with that is if William's able to get to 10 Lasso next turn, that's easy.
That's it.
2 prizes for Sableye. Doesn't look like William, or it doesn't look like Kevin's playing anything like a Lost Vacuum, so could be pretty tough to get. I don't think he will be able to get to 10 in Lost Zone. But if he goes a couple comfies, he could get there.
Bibarel Squirtle, best draw engine in the game.
Oh, you get to see a lot of cards. That's like super nice. This is a tough decision here after this flower selecting. He not super tough, I guess, but oh, it was, I thought it was Sableye comfy. It was just comfy. So now I don't think he can have any way to get to 10 in the Lost Zone. So
Alright,
Draw Engine should be safe for now.
Another Colress in hand. And Sableye. He's going to keep the Sableye, Colress, and Psychic just so we can power him up. Deliberating.
Yeah, I think the Nest Ball is a pretty easy card to ditch here. Hasn't lost on any energy yet, so it's probably fine to get rid of a Psychic.
Need the Mirage Gate to power up the Tina as well. Unless he wants to do it the slow way.
Alright, we are at 7, so we should be seeing that Mirage Gate coming down.
And it's going to be tough for that Raikou to survive. And then Squirtle, not known for its ability to attack.
Yeah, pretty unfortunate for Kevin to miss Arceus V 2 turns in a row. Saw a lot of cards off of his research, but couldn't quite get there. See the Sableye coming down.
Let's get the Psychic Energy in hand for when that's ready. Mirage Gate as well. Is that a Radiant Charizard in there too?
He has the Charizard.
There's a lot of answers in that hand right now. Attach going to a Comfy. Going to see 2 more cards, it looks like.
Yeah, I think needs to switch card Mirage Gate.
And keep that Mirage Gate. You might need it.
Probably tough to
Ooh, he's getting rid of it.
tossing it.
Can I go for a Comfey and see another couple cards?
Let's see. He...
Oh,
I don't think he's going to be able to... Oh, didn't he attach for turn already?
He did. I could be mistaken, but he may have.
Yeah, yep. Yeah, no way for him to attack with this Tina this turn. Looks like this will be an Abyss-seeking turn.
Friendly mistake. It happens.
Yeah. So that's definitely a breath of life for Kevin here. Is going to have an additional turn to try to do something. And also, leaving this Giratina V in the active.
If he can fill his bench and that Raikou can do what it does, I think William now realizing that he may have sent a Tina to its death if Kevin can fill his bench.
Looking at the hand, it looks like he has a supporter in there, but not sure if it was a research. If it's a research, he will be dumping another double turbo, which can be a little tough.
So this turn, Kevin is looking to get that Arceus down. Try to get that... Oh, actually, he's not going to be able to go looking for cards because Path to the Peak.
Yeah, and see, looks like he is not playing any bumps to Path, so we will not see Path going away anytime soon.
Could still get that energy distribution from Arceus' attack, but that's tricky. The Giratina gets leveled up next turn.
See the Iono coming down.
So right now we do have, with William, 10 in the Lost Zone, so Sableye is fully powered up. My most favorite card in Lost Zone. And that is a pretty decent threat to his draw engine that is currently getting powered up as well. That Bidoof hopefully turning into a Bibarel, and the Squirtle allowing you to nest stash and put all those cards at the bottom. Kind of like a poor man's Iono, but you want to do it.
All right, and looks like he should be able to fill his bench this
you go.
turn. Superior coming down, Pikachu coming down, Nest Ball coming down for an Arceus.
There it is. If the math is right, that's going to be the end of that Tina and drawing 2 prize cards. Might be getting the Arceus that he needs out of his prize cards if he takes the bottom 2.
Yeah, the only thing that we didn't see off of that supporter was we did not see a B-Barrel. And that was a pretty important thing to get, because having that Squovit and B-Barrel sitting there makes a very easy Sableye target for William next turn. Still does have access to Nest Dash, and I wonder if it's worth trying to go for
Just
it.
going for that top deck.
Yeah, and
Hey.
it looks like he is opting to go for it.
All right, let's see it. Top deck of Bibarel.
That would be the dream for sure.
Fortunately, his fleet-footed also disabled from that Path of the Peak. He did have a Path of the Peak in hand as well. It doesn't do much good. Did he get it?
It doesn't look like it. I think he would have been slamming that thing down right away. Unfortunate to miss that. But does get the KO on the Tina to go down to 3 prize cards, so still very much in this game. The only issue is next turn he just needs to... He's living off the top deck. Needs to hit us, draw supporter.
You just got to top deck the right card once. Playing research. Pull one of his 2 professors' researches, and they see 7 new cards. That'll get you the Bibarel, burn her down a little bit, see everything you need, and you're off to the races. Got the Box of Disaster going out there, though. Pretty dangerous to that Raikou if it's got enough damage on it.
Yeah, I'm just going to choose to spit this Raikou. I wonder if he was unable. Looks like he was unable to guarantee the Sableye attack with his hand. So, makes sense. Taking just a knockout with Cram. That Squovit will still be there later.
All right, things have changed a little bit. Kevin's actually looking like he's doing okay. Flying Pikachu. Correct me if I'm mistaken, the VMAX has an ability that prevents it from taking damage the following turn with a good flip.
That is the V. The V has an attack that can protect it for next turn. Oh, and not hitting the double turbo here. Doesn't look like he's got the V star for the Arceus. Might just opt to go for the Trinity Charge.
You can get the Squovit top deck.
Could go for the Squovit top deck, but now he's already attached his energy for turn, so definitely won't be Trinity Novaing this turn.
Flying Pikachu with the free retreat. Always fun. Another Arceus that he got out of his prize cards onto the bench.
Looks like he has research in hand, trying to decide if he wants to go for it. I'm not sure what the other card in his hand was. I think it was a switch.
Oh, he's going to full send it. Come on.
Not going for the... If he top decks the B-Barrel here, he is a genius. Looks like he probably missed it again. We'll probably just see a Trinity Charge coming out here.
Looks correct to me. Trinity Charge going into his deck, going to put some energy. You can see, where was that Bibarel?
And so something interesting here. He was never able to get Starbirth off. So
He
that
was
means
not.
his V-Star power is still available.
Does he run a Forest Seal Stone?
I don't believe so, but he does have Superior V-Star.
Walk me through it.
I honestly don't remember what Superior V-Star's attack is, but I think it's some kind of like a 70x attack, possibly.
Okay.
That does damage based off energy on the board. I think it's something like that.
So you think there might be a different play coming down here?
There
That
could
Path
be
of
a
the
different
Peak
play,
might be
yeah.
on purpose. Operating underneath that might unlock something else.
Yeah.
All right, chose some energy. It's a grass, a lightning, and a metal. It's like it's being put on the superior.
Yeah. Probably
Okay.
going to try to grab the V-Star next turn and try to power it up, and try to attack with it.
A lot of energy on the board all of a sudden for Kevin. We were concerned he didn't have much going on, and now there's actually a lot going on over there. Slightly ahead in the prize trade. That Arceus, not the beefiest Pokemon. William does have the Colress, so he's going to see 5 cards. We know he's going to drop both of those Battle VIP passes. Okay, draws 3 Battle VIP passes. Easy choices there.
All right. Yeah, and looks like William has a couple options here. Could try to attack with a Sableye and take out that Squova Bidoof like we were talking before. Could also choose to attack with the Giratina V-Star and just knock out this active Arceus with the energies on it. Looks like he doesn't quite have the cards he needs in his hand.
Does he have the Arceus? Does he have the Arceus in hand though? Any way to get it?
He's got just the one card topped.
Lost Zone is about to see a lot of cards. Boss and the escape rope.
Yeah, I think it's a... Boss is pretty nice here, but I don't know if he has any more switching cards in hand in order to get into an attacker this turn.
Is there a chance he could do a Sableye play that could set it up for a multi-prize next turn?
Yeah, they always has the option of doing that, setting up. Sometimes it's nice to set up damage onto the Arceuses. You put 30 damage on an Arceus,
Yep.
so that way your Tina can one-shot with Lost Impact, even if they have a V-Guard on it.
So take one prize like a Squovid this turn, and then set up that Arceus for KO from the V-Star next turn.
Yeah, could choose to do that. I think his best line of play here would be to just take the 60-60 on the Squovit Bidoof, and then has Star Requiem still available to
The
take the
return
last
KO,
two
yeah.
prizes. But still doesn't quite have what he needs. So gonna
Still
go for
hunting down
another
that
flower.
V-Star.
Yeah, needs another energy on it. There we go. Gate.
Rush Gate, all right.
Fire
Nothing
energy
needs a
getting
fire
lost
energy.
on. Makes sense.
So his win condition right now is take the two prizes from the draw engine that never quite got fired up, and then do a return one-hit KO from Star Requiem from Giratina V-Star. He does have to bump the path to the peak, though, to make that happen, right?
No, Star Requiem is an attack, so he can safely attack without having to bump data.
Watch that.
Alright. And now we'll see the Mirage Gate coming down. Does he still have energy in deck? He's got the one Psychic.
I was thinking of his V-Star ability, which is the
Oh.
one-hit KO.
Yes.
Apologies.
No worries. Alright, and does he have the V-Star in hand? He does.
V-Star in hand.
So can either choose to go for Lost Impact, which he'll get rid of the Jets. Makes sense.
Take his two prize cards, and that Sableye waiting on the bench is waiting for the Squovit in the Bidoof, it looks like.
Yeah, and I'm not totally sure what Kevin's gonna be able to do here. It looks like he doesn't have any way to one-shot the Giratina V-Star.
So he's going to have to probably pull up that Sableye and take it out, and then hope he can't take damage next turn? But that Sableye dead, that doesn't matter.
Yeah, and you know, but however, William still has access to his Star Requiem. So we'll be able to knock out anything he leaves in the active. This might be his only play. He's not even able to go for Fly without the double turbo here. Hits the Superior V-Star.
This was the piece of the puzzle we didn't quite know everything about.
Yeah, so I looked it up. It does 60 damage for the V-Star attack is 60 damage for every energy attached to Superior, and then you retreat it to the bench.
Okay.
All right, and looks like Kevin went for Thunder Shock, which was probably his best move. Paralyzes the V-Star, but it looks like Kevin's got the...
Oh, I was like,
Jet.
is he retreating the paralyzed Pokemon? But it was a Jet energy.
And then, yeah, we'll just have the Star Requiem for game here.
A well-played game by William, showing the power of Lost Tina. Flying Pikachu, though, one of my favorite Pokemon, because it has no retreat cost, because they put balloons on Pikachu. That's one thing I love about the Pokemon TCG. It can be kind of ridiculous sometimes.
Yeah, a lot of fun cards. Flying Pikachu, a meme card before making its way into decks and winning.
It's a serious card. It's a serious meme
serious
card now.
Yeah, so there we have it. William takes the game with Lost Tina into Kevin's Arc Pile.
Max, as an amateur player, it's been an extreme pleasure watching you analyze these games. We're hoping you do really well at Pittsburgh. Bring the Pittsburgh trophy here like you brought the Fort Wayne trophy here to Minnesota. It's pretty cool sitting next to someone of your caliber talking about Pokemon. It's just awesome. So thanks for being here with me.
Yeah, John, it's a pleasure to have you filling in for Tom today, and I hope we get to do some more in the future.
Cheers. I'll be right back. Actually, no winner interview. We're running a bit late here. The Forge is about to close. So congratulations to everyone who won on stream. Congratulations to everyone who won in the tournament today. Congratulations on your championship points. We'll see you guys next week.
Thanks for watching.